God bless the Vincent and the Grenadines, God bless. God bless with SVG. SVG is a nation in the Caribbean. A full time now, no need to mention. You are so beautiful, use one in a million. So many lovely beaches with the white sea sand. The golden sunlight that give life to the plants. The fresh air that blow from the sea.
Her Excellency Dame Susan Duggan, GCMG OBE, Governor General of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Ms. Shellyan Tony, Finance Manager of Flow SVG, Mrs. Mala Nanton James, Education Officer, Media and Communication Unit, other government officials, Lion Michael John MJF, President of Lions Club St. Vincent South, other distinguished Lions and Leos, principal and teachers, judges, the media, listeners and viewers, ladies and gentlemen, fellow participants and students, good evening. We're happy to have you all here at the Methodist Church Hall in Kingstown once more for another year of the Lions Club St. Vincent South National Secondary Schools Public Speaking Competition in association with Flow. Today, we'll have 6 finalists coming before you with their presentations, and we look forward to you supporting and at the same time keeping in mind that the judges will need to hear the entire presentations in order to make their tabulations. So please do keep that in mind. As we begin, I wish to introduce our finalists for this evening. So show some appreciation as we introduce the 6 finalists coming before you tonight. We begin with the representative of the St. Vincent Grammar School, Isaiah Tony. Isaiah, you can join us at the table, please. Serenity Joseph, representing the St. Vincent Girls High School. Sophia De Riggs of the St. Joseph's Convent, Kingstown. Joshua Samuel, Mountain View Adventist Academy. Braxton Lewis, North Union Secondary School. And last but by no means least, Jaquan Edwards of the Thomas Saunders Secondary School. So we have all 6 finalists sitting before you tonight, and we are going to have some wonderful competition tonight. Put your hands together once more for all 6 of them. At this time, I wish to introduce Reverend Janice Sawyer Delaney to bring us the invocation. Following this, please remain standing for the national anthem of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Good evening. I invite us to bow our heads for prayer. Train up the children in the way they should go, and when they are old, they will not depart from it. Gracious and loving God, we acknowledge your presence and power this evening as we gather with hearts full of anticipation and minds eager to listen and support these young people who have been preparing for this public speaking competition. You've blessed each participant with the gift of speech and the power of words to motivate and challenge. Inspire them by your Holy Spirit and grant them courage, clarity of thought, confidence in delivery, and effectiveness in communication. Help them not only to set examples in speech, but also in conduct, in love, in faith, and in purity for their peers and others. We pray for the members of the Lions clubs in Vincent South who are hosting this secondary school's public speaking competition. And for those who have been committedly coaching and preparing the students. Help them never to grow weary in well-doing. May they experience a high level of satisfaction at the outcome and give them the assurance that their labor is not in vain. Oh God, as we thank you for the opportunity given to these young people to demonstrate their potential, the potential you have placed in them for growth and development, the desire to achieve, and the possibility to excel, we commit the process of adjudication to you and pray that you will grant keen ears and dispassionate hearts to the judges as they hear the speeches. May the program proceed smoothly, and may we, the audience, be generous in our encouragement, appreciation, and support of the youth. This we pray in the name of Jesus the Christ. Amen.
Thank you very much, Reverend Delaney. We now have the national anthem of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Saint Vincent, land so beautiful, with joyful heart we pledge to thee our loyalty and love and vow to keep you ever free. Whatever
much. You may have your seats. At this time, I wish to invite the president of the Lions Club St. Vincent South, Lion Michael John, MGF, to bring us some welcome remarks.
Thank you, Lion Colville. Mr. Chairman Colville, Her Excellencies Dame Susan Duggan, Governor General of SVG, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Ms. Shelley Tony, Finance Manager, Flow SVG, Mrs. Marlon Nanton James, Education Officer and Media Communication Unit, other government officials, other distinguished Lions and Leos in the audience, principal, teachers, our esteemed judges, the media, listeners and viewers, ladies and gentlemen, fellow participating students. It gives me great pleasure to stand before you here to bring you greetings on behalf of our club, the Lions Club St. Vincent South, a club that was established for almost 50 years. And this is one of our major projects, which is known as a signature project, which is our public speaking competition. This evening, the spotlight is not on the club, the spotlight is on our students. And I would like to take this opportunity to commend our finalists for reaching thus far. I've sat in every single preliminary, and I would have listened to their delivery along with the others. I want to also take the opportunity to commend the 20 participants for this year's competition. And it has been one of the highest turnout over the years. And I think the teachers and the students and the Ministry of Education must be commended for that special effort. I will also like to thank our sponsors, Flow, and I know Shellyan will give you more details, but this competition, Flow is putting in over $34,000 in this competition. Flow have been a long-standing partner, I will say partner, not only a sponsor, partner with us, and they always put the youth of our nation on the front line in terms of coming forward and sponsoring this event. As I mentioned before, our club is one of the oldest Lions Club in St. Vincent, and we are involved in numerous projects. I will just take this opportunity to highlight a few of them so that those persons who might just see us going around in our jackets, they will know our purpose. We are instrumental in the tree planting exercise in the Montreal watershed area, and we all know the challenges that we are facing with climate change. So by planting trees, we are helping to revitalize our water supply, because of a lot of the supplies to your homes come from the Montreal watershed area. We are also involved in assisting when there are natural disasters. Over the years, we have managed several warehouses, including the major one at the Juicy building, which is now demolished. And we also had, in the last disaster, we had our storeroom at Arnotsville. So we are involved in the community. We are also heavily involved in terms of assisting the needy. We have students that we assist in terms of education scholarship to attend school. This year, as president, one of my goal, which I have taken to our board, which they have graciously approved, is to set aside $50,000 to assist in housing, to assist the elderly in housing. I think that will be an excellent project. So now I turn back my attention to the students, and I want to wish you all the best in your delivery. As I said, based on what I have witnessed at the preliminaries, I know tonight we are in for a very high standard. The standard was high throughout the preliminaries, and I do expect you to keep the same high standard. So I don't want to keep you much longer because I know the main focus is the students. So with that, I'd like to wish everyone all the best. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lion President. I'm a little bit short, so I have to. Okay, there we go. Thank you very much. And as we prepare for the next speaker, just want to take this opportunity to say welcome to our radio, television, and online audience. Via radio, we have listeners on NBC Radio, WeFM, and Nice Radio. Television, VC3 Television, SVG Television, and across the pages of VC3 Lions Club St. Vincent South on YouTube, on the VC3 page, and also on the NBC SVG Facebook page and API's Facebook page. A very wide audience tonight, so I know that our competitors will be looking forward to speaking to a very large audience and sharing their perspectives. At this time, I wish to welcome the representative of our sponsor, Flow, who has been so faithful to us over the years in continuing to sponsor this event. So Ms. Shelley Antoni will come to us at this time and bring us some remarks on behalf of Flow.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, Her Excellency Dame Susan Duggan, GCMG OBE Governor General of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Mrs. Marla Nanton James, Education Officer, Media and Communication Unit, other government officials, Lion Michael John, MJF, President, Lions Club St. Vincent South, other distinguished Leos and Lions, principals and teachers, judges, the media, listeners and viewers, ladies and gentlemen, participants, good afternoon, good evening. Warm greetings from the management and staff of Cable and Wireless St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Flow, to the Flow Lions Club South National Secondary School Public Speaking Competition. It is always a pleasure listening to the spirited debate and presentations from our future leaders in this friendly platform created to hone new skills. Public speaking in particular, a useful skill that transcends industries and careers. For 30 plus years, Cable and Wireless Flow has pledged its support towards this event. We stand resolute in this commitment and our continued contribution and investments in education and youth development in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. As one of our values states, when we collaborate, we all win. And this is what we are doing here tonight. In addition to our direct financial contribution to the Lions Club, our sponsorship this year continues to include some exciting prizes and academic scholarships for the winning students. All finalists will receive a gift of a smartphone with 1 month Flow mobile data service. We will also issue the following scholarships administered by Lions Club South. So the third place will receive a $500 annually for a two-year scholarship. The second place will receive $1,000, again annually, a 2-year scholarship. And the first place will receive $1,500 annually, a 2-year scholarship. The winning school will also receive a $3,000 prize towards the completion of a school developmental project. Let me take this opportunity to congratulate all the 6 finalists and everyone who played a pivotal role in preparing them for this competition. Indeed, our future is bright with public speakers like you. I crave your indulgences in continuing to participate and to be a part of platforms like these, which will boost your confidence levels. As we continue to celebrate our 46th year as an independent nation, let me also extend congratulations to the government and people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We have come thus far by faith, leaning on the Lord. As the words of our anthem declared, whate'er our future brings, our faith will see us through. Again, from the management and staff of Cable and Wireless St. Vincent and the Grenadines Limited, Flow, especially our country manager, Miss Andrea Liverpool, congratulations to the Lions Club South on your continued production of the National Public Speaking Competition, which has spanned more than 2 decades. We pray that this will remain a part of your mandates, and Flow is here to support you as together we are investing in our nation's future. Thank you and good evening.
Thank you very much, Ms. Shelley Ann Tony, representative of Flow, our sponsor for this evening. At this time, we will invite to bring us some remarks the representative of the Ministry of Education, who's been a valued partner in this process for many years. Mrs. Marlon Anton James, the representative of the Ministry of Education, will now address us.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And I too wish to acknowledge the presence of Her Excellency Dame Suzanne Duggan, Governor General of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Ms. Shelley Ann Tony, Finance Manager at Flow, SVG, Lion Michael John, President of the Lions Club, St. Vincent South, other distinguished Lions and Leos, our esteemed judges, principals, and teachers. And I want us to give a special round of applause to our competing students tonight. 4 males and 2 females, quite an interesting combination. I also recognize the representatives of the media, listeners and viewers joining us via live broadcast, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's really my pleasure to be here tonight, bringing very warm greetings from the Ministry of Education. For over 2.5 decades, the ministry has done its part in facilitating student entry and preparation for this competition. So it's no secret that we value our partnership with the Lions Club South and Flow SVG. Moreover, the ministry continues to provide meaningful opportunities that empower and develop our students. And so we welcome initiatives like this public speaking competition, which provides a platform for our students to put into practice the knowledge and skills that they learn and continue to hone in the classroom. And I know that is a shared expectation among the ministry, the organizers, and event sponsors for these students actively participating here tonight to become more confident speakers and ultimately capable leaders of tomorrow. Now, the Ministry of Education collaborates with a wide array of agencies across diverse fields, from math, literacy, and science to sports and the performing arts. We also engage partners in disaster risk reduction, emergency management, early childhood care and education, life skills, technical skills, modern languages, and civics. And all of these efforts connect to one goal: giving our students platforms to grow holistically and prepare for the challenges and opportunities ahead. But I haven't come here tonight to steal the spotlight in any way. So I just want to publicly offer a word of congratulations on behalf of the ministry to the Lions Club South and also to Flow on sustaining a worthwhile initiative. And I also want to congratulate each of you students competing here tonight for having made it this far. And we at the ministry wish each of you all the very best. Remember to draw on the many lessons, the skills, and the knowledge you gain every day in the classroom. And on that note, let your minds remain steady and your voices carry far tonight. Good night and good luck. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Marlon Anton James, representative of the Ministry of Education. And if you look at your program, you'd know the Honorable Minister who is scheduled to be here tonight. We do apologize for his absence due to other engagements. We move on to giving you an idea of the competition for this evening. As you know, it's a build-up, something that has been months, weeks, days in the making. And the competitors, especially in the last 2 weeks, I'm sure they've been anticipating this day, and it's here. So we're going to talk all about what to expect tonight. I'll share the rules with you as well, and as we go through the various categories, various segments, I'll remind you and give you the specifics as to how that segment will be judged. So in a world where the ability to communicate effectively is a great asset, we applaud the students, teachers, and parents, and all of those involved in the preparation for today's event. And I speak not only of the finalists, but also of those who participated in the preliminary round of competition, as without them, we would not have 6 finalists, the cream of the crop, with us tonight. This competition's significance is further highlighted by the fact that it provides a national stage for students to express themselves. It resonates across the nation, drawing participation from students of diverse backgrounds and communities. The competition instills a sense of pride in our youth as they represent their schools and their communities. For almost 3 decades, students from the length and breadth of St. Vincent and the Grenadines have participated in this prestigious event, and before this, through the JCs from where we picked up. And this continues to be our flagship project. And many of those who participated and won the competition over the years are now contributing even greater to national development in their individual capacities. So as we get into tonight's competition, we just want you to put your hands together once more for the 6 finalists for tonight's competition. So I'll give you an idea of the rules, in particular for the main speech, which is the main topic, and I'll give you the main topic as well so you can prepare to listen and to know what to listen for. Now, each speaker shall deliver 3 speeches, 1 main prepared speech, 1 student prepared speech, and an impromptu speech. For the main speech, each speaker shall speak for a period not exceeding 10 minutes. For the student prepared speech, each speaker shall speak for a period not exceeding 5 minutes. For the impromptu speech, each speaker shall have 1 minute to consider their topic and no more than 2 minutes to present on his or her topic. Any speaker who utilizes less than 8 minutes of the allocated time for the main prepared speech shall have 5 points deducted from his or her total. Participants could refer to prepared notes from which they can make their presentation. For the prepared main speech, participants not engaged in delivering their speeches shall be absent from the room at the time the speech is being delivered, unless he or she has already delivered his or her speech. So we'll go to that in a moment. So we'll have 5 of you leaving and just the first competitor staying to begin the competition. And just to note that the order they are appearing in tonight was not chosen by the club, but it was chosen at the press event about 2 weeks ago, where they selected their order of appearance from 1 to 6. So at this time, I wish to introduce our panel of esteemed judges, and please bear with me. I have quite a lot of information to share about our judges tonight. And it is important that we give you this information so that you know the context in which they are scoring tonight and how they're going about doing their tabulations at the end of tonight's competition. And as I call their name, if we could just stand just for a moment so that everyone recognizes the judge. Our first judge, Dr. Risa Noel McBarnett. Let's recognize and a round of applause, please. They have a very important role tonight. And without them, we wouldn't have a winner because we need the judges. Thank you very much, Dr. Risa Noel McBarnett. So Dr. Noel McBarnett is a dynamic senior administrative leader and educator who currently heads the University of the West Indies Global Campus in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, driving accessible, flexible, and high-quality undergraduate, graduate, and professional and continuing education programs. With 4 years as Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism, Civil Aviation, Sustainable Development and Culture, and earlier roles in classroom teaching, curriculum development, and public sector administration, Dr. Noel McBarnett recognizes the transformative power of effective communication in both academic and professional landscapes. A scholar holding a PhD in education from the University of Auckland and an MPhil in education from the University of Cambridge, and a Bachelor of Arts in Literatures in English from the University of the West Indies. She is also an experienced speechwriter and public speaking coach. Dr. Noel McBarnett is pleased to accept the role of adjudicator for the Lions Club St. Vincent South Secondary School's public speaking competition, an event that champions the vital skills of communication and self-expression among our youth. Round of applause for our first judge, Dr. Risa Noel McBarnett. Now I invite to stand Mr. Jimmy Ford, almost a doctor. Mr. Jimmy Ford, if you can stand so we can recognize you. One of 2 males on the panel tonight. Thank you. Mr. Jimmy Ford holds a diploma in youth and social work from the Commonwealth Youth Program. He received his Bachelor's of Science in Human Resource Management from Springfield College in the USA, an MBA from the American International College, as well as a postgraduate degree in marketing from the Western Ontario University in Canada. He was awarded a certificate in advanced business strategy from Harvard University in the USA. His extracurricular activities include former Vice President of the National Youth Council, past President of the Rotary Club of St. Vincent, and former producer of the National Calypso semifinals. Currently, he is the director of the Teachers Credit Union. Mr. Ford's work experience began in 1983 as a teacher. He was the general manager of the St. Vincent Marketing Corporation from 1994 to 1996, divisional manager at Correa's Hazels Inc. from 1996 to 2015, and he is currently the CEO at Acado, a role he undertook since 2015, which you may know as Correa's Distribution for the sake of reference. Put your hands together once more for Mr. Jimmy Ford. Mr. Utama Rose, if you can stand for us, please. Another of our judges tonight. Mr. Rose was the National Public Speaking Champion in 2011. Some of you may remember that. He was a top male performer in the Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate CSEC examinations of 2012. He graduated from the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Community College in 2014 and went on to earn a Bachelor of Science degree in Geography with honors from the University of the West Indies, Mona Campus, Jamaica in 2019. During his time at UWI Mona, Mr. Rose demonstrated exceptional leadership. He made history as the first Vincentian to serve as chairman of the Rex Nettleford Hall and also served as the UWI Guild Counselor for the 2018-2019 academic year. In recognition of his outstanding contributions, he was awarded the prestigious UWI Mona Premier Award for Leadership in 2019. Mr. Rose is currently a lecturer in geography at the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Community College, and he serves as the coach of the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Community College Debating Society, leading the team to victory in 2022 and runner-up in 2024. From 2021 to 2023, Mr. Rose worked as a project officer in the Ministry of Finance, Economic Planning, and Information Technology. Beyond academics and the public service, Mr. Rose is a passionate football fan and a cultural enthusiast. He is also the reigning Ragasoka Monarch for 2025, showcasing his versatility and talent in the performing arts. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Utama Rose, otherwise known as Bongo Prime. Our next judge on the panel this evening, Ms. Chanel Hadaway. Ms. Hadaway is a Parliamentary Counsel 3 at the Attorney General's Chambers in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, where she plays a pivotal role in translating government policies into law. Her responsibilities include drafting primary and subsidiary legislation, advising ministries on legal matters, reviewing cabinet submissions, and supporting the legislative process in Parliament. She holds a Bachelor of Laws from the University of the West Indies Cayville campus, a Certificate of Legal Education from the Hugh Wooding Law School, and a Master of Laws in Legislative Drafting from the University of the West Indies Cayville campus. In 2023, she furthered her academic journey as a Chevening Scholar, completing a Master of Science in Climate Change and Environmental Policy at the University of Leeds. Beyond her professional duties, Ms. Hadaway is an avid advocate for climate action, particularly on behalf of small island developing states. She was part of the legal team that represented St. Vincent and the Grenadines before the International Court of Justice in its advisory opinion on climate change, which culminated in a historic judgment in favor of climate-affected countries. She is also a member of the Achievers Toastmasters Club, where she hones her skills in leadership and communication. While she has over 9 years of legal experience spanning litigation, regulation, and legislative drafting, Ms. Hadaway is also an entrepreneur of a balloon decor business, Ethereal Balloons, hope I pronounced that right, that provides bespoke balloon pieces to add flair to any event. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Chanel Hadaway. And last, but by no means least, another familiar name, Shadisha George Mattis. If you can stand for us, please. Mrs. George Mattis is an emerging professional in international and European governance and political science with a strong academic and practical foundation in global affairs. In 2009, she was nominated to participate in the prestigious Global Young Leaders Conference in Washington, D.C. and in New York, where she developed an appetite for international cooperation and development. In 2022, she successfully defended her thesis entitled St. Vincent and the Grenadines' Election to the United Nations Security Council as a non-permanent member, Impulse and Action. More recently, in 2024, she completed an advanced master's in European and International Governance at the University of Geneva in Switzerland, building on the previous graduate studies in International Studies at the National Chengchi University in Taiwan, and a Bachelor of Science in Political Science with International Relations at the University of the West Indies Cayville campus. Mrs. George Mattis also holds a certificate in compliance and anti-money laundering and is recognized for her communication, analytical, and cross-cultural skills. Deeply committed to service, she has volunteered with organizations such as the World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts and the Special Olympics of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. At present, Ms. George Mattis is employed at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Trade and Consumer Affairs, where she operates the United Nations Commonwealth and Human Rights Desk. Put your hands together for our final judge on the panel tonight, Shadisha George Mattis. So now we know the judges, it's time to focus on the reason why we're here tonight, the competition aspect of the evening, and I know you're eagerly anticipating that. So at this time, I'll ask that our ushers prepare to escort competitors number 2 through 6. So Isaiah, you'd remain with us as you're coming first. So Serenity, Sophia, Joshua, Braxton, and Jaquan, you now go with a member of our usher team who will take you to the holding space until we get to your presentation. All right, so while we do that, just want to again welcome those who might just be joining in by way of radio and television across St. Vincent, the Grenadines, the wider region, and of course the wider world. We're also on the VC3 television platform in addition to SVG television and on their YouTube channel as well. VC3 YouTube channel, you can follow there as well tonight's competition. So Joshua, are you ready? Isaiah, hold. Too early for this. Isaiah, you ready? Ah, he gave a nod. Okay, so judges, are you ready? Okay, the judges are ready. So you know what that means. Before I do that, though, I must recognize our timekeepers. And, well, of course, we mentioned the judges already. Our timekeepers tonight are Sharon Williams, Lion Sharon Williams, and Lion Suzette May. If you can just wave. Oh, right. Those are timekeepers for tonight. Now, before you present Isaiah, I must give the evaluation of the main topic and how it will be judged in a snapshot. So, this is how the points will be allocated. For material, a total of 20 points, manner, 10 points, language, 10 points, and voice, 10 points. That's for the main topic. And a reminder of the main topic, the emerging population crisis in the English-speaking Caribbean is creating economic stagnation, yet policymakers have been largely unreactive to this demographic shift. That's our main topic for tonight. So let's get ready for the competition as I invite our first competitor, number 1, to the podium from the St. Vincent Grammar School, Isaiah Tony. Sorry, before you come, Isaiah, I just have to give you some instructions because you need to know about the bells and how those work. We can't, of course, ask you to speak without knowing, the parameters on which you speak. So let's give you the instructions. And this is, of course, for the prepared speech. As we go to the other categories, we'll give the instructions there. So, and this is for the benefit of the audience and the judges, the first bell will go when the participant takes the podium and is ready to present. That's it. The second bell would go at 8 minutes into the presentation, and the third and final bell would go at 10 minutes. Remember those points? First bell, when they get here. Second bell, 8 minutes in. Third bell, 10 minutes into the competition.
Mr. Chairman, Her Excellency Dame Susan Duggan, GCMG OBE, Governor General of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Mrs. Shelley Anthony, Finance Manager, Flow SVG, Mrs. Marlon Anton James, Education Officer, Media and Communication Unit, other government officials, Lion Michael John MJF, President Lions Club, St. Vincent South, other distinguished Lions and Leos, principals and teachers, judges, the media, listeners and viewers, ladies and gentlemen, fellow participants and students, a pleasant night. King Solomon, the wisest man that has ever lived, said, "A prudent person foresees danger and takes precautions, but the simpleton goes blindly on and suffers the consequences." Chairperson, during the late 20th century, the Caribbean encountered a serious demographic transformation, which resulted in grave economic challenges. Many demographers anticipated this shift as the world advanced politically, socially, and economically. Caribbean governments were also warned about the ensuing dangers, but surprisingly, almost 60 years later, they are grappling with this exact dilemma. Ladies and gentlemen, I concur that the emerging population crisis in the English-speaking Caribbean is indeed creating economic stagnation. Yet, policymakers in the Caribbean have been largely unreactive to this demographic shift. Across the English-speaking Caribbean, we are witnessing a gradual but undeniable decline. falling birth rates, aging populations, and the widespread migration of our brightest minds. According to the United Nations, the Caribbean now has the slowest growth among all population small island developing states, projected to rise only slightly from 46.5 million today to 49.5 million by 2050. Chairperson, this is not mere statistics. It is a slow-burning crisis that threatens to shake the very foundation of our economies. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, warns that while global populations exceed 8 billion, growth momentum is fading due to sharp fertility declines. Many Caribbean nations now have below replacement fertility rates, fewer than the 2.1 children per woman needed to maintain the population. Leaders like Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Ralph Gonsalves have sounded the alarm, stressing that if fertility does not rebound, our economies will falter. Prime Minister Mia Mottley of Barbados has taken it even further, calling it a national crisis. And Jamaica's health minister has recently urged citizens to have more children if they can afford to. But Chairperson, talk alone will not reverse this trend. The Caribbean needs decisive and immediate policy action, not polite concern. Researchers from the McKinsey Global Institute explain that shrinking populations shift the demographic balance toward youth scarcity and an aging workforce. This reduces the number of working individuals who contribute to taxes, fees, and levies, which are essential for funding pensions and maintaining essential sectors. In Barbados, over 20% of the population is now over the age of 65. In Jamaica, the labor force is contracting. In Grenada and St. Kitts, the youth population is shrinking. And right here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, many rural communities are visibly aging. Chairperson, the National Insurance Services, NIS, now supports over 10,000 pensioners, compared to just under 3,000 in the year 2000. This means fewer workers are contributing, even as more persons rely on benefits, a formula for long-term economic stagnation. Ladies and gentlemen, fewer working-age citizens means less innovation, lower productivity, and slower growth. And without intervention, this is the trajectory we face. While there are no widespread reports of large-scale financial incentives for having more children, some governments have acknowledged the problem, but most responses have been piecemeal. A few have considered offering family support policies, such as childcare assistance, extended parental leave, and housing benefits. But, Chairperson, is that enough to convince ambitious, educated women to have more children in these high-cost societies? We need to invest in comprehensive family policies, creating a work environment where parents can balance careers and family life without having to choose one over the other. The Economic Commission for Latin America and the Caribbean, ECLAC, also urges governments to promote healthy aging, ensuring access to healthcare and social protection. But the truth is, an aging workforce alone cannot sustain economic dynamism. When our most productive workers retire, labor shortages inevitably follow. More so, many Caribbean nations are reporting labor deficits in key sectors such as construction, healthcare, agriculture, and tourism. Some countries like Antigua and Barbuda, Barbados, and Montserrat have begun implementing retirement age reforms and long-term care programs, but many others lag behind. Ladies and gentlemen, compounding the emerging population crisis are the problems of emigration and brain drain. In Jamaica, the number of citizens residing abroad grew from 860,000 to over 1.1 million in just 2 decades. the country has lost nearly 60% of its tertiary graduates to nations like the United States, Canada, and the United Kingdom. Additionally, across the Caribbean, nurses, teachers, engineers, and other skilled professionals are leaving, chasing the greener grass of opportunities that our own societies cannot provide. And when they leave, they take with them not only their skills and tax contributions, but also the hope of a stronger, more self-reliant Caribbean. Chairperson, what remains is a hollowed-out workforce and a cycle of underdevelopment. Countries like Singapore and South Korea once faced similar demographic challenges, and they responded, not with despair, but with vision, investing in affordable childcare, family incentives, education, and innovation. The Chinese have also encouraged the development of robotics and automation to compensate for labor shortages. Chairperson, policymakers in the Caribbean can take from these examples, not by copying them wholesale, but by adapting them wisely to our realities. Furthermore, we must reimagine migration as a circular flow of talent, a potential brain gain, not just a brain drain. The CARICOM Single Market and Economy and the OECS Free Movement of Persons frameworks are important steps, but we must go further. We should encourage diaspora return through tax incentives, investment opportunities, and professional exchange programs. At the same time, we need to retain young professionals by expanding vocational training, boosting private sector investment, and making it easier for our youth to build lives right here at home. Countries like Australia and Antigua and Barbuda have benefited from strategic immigration policies that attract skilled workers while stimulating the economy. Other Caribbean nations too can build such pathways, prudently and purposefully. In conclusion, Chairperson, the real tragedy is not that we face a population crisis, but that our leaders are not treating it as such. We cannot build vibrant, innovative economies while ignoring our demographic foundations. Remember, King Solomon warned us that only the prudent foresees danger and takes precautions. So let us not go blindly on, suffering the consequences. Let us act strategically, collectively, and urgently to invest in our greatest resource, our people. Chairperson, if we fail to act now, King Solomon might just start rolling in his grave. I thank you.
All right, one more time, put your hands together for competitor number one, Isaiah Tony of the St. Vincent Grammar School. And the time?
Isaiah spoke for 9 minutes, 26 seconds.
9 minutes, 26 seconds as we prepare to welcome participant number 2, Serenity Joseph of the St. Vincent Girls High School. So while Serenity comes, I'll have to give her the same note as her first competitor and give her some time to breathe. So Serenity, this is how the bell would work. The first bell will go when you take to the podium and you're ready to present, something like that. Second bell would go at 8 minutes, and the third and final bell at 10 minutes. Put your hands together once more.
Mr. Chairman, We are living longer and reproducing fewer children. By 2050, 1 in every 4 inhabitants of the Caribbean will be over 60 years of age. Mr. Chairman, Her Excellency, Dame Susan Duggan, GCMG, OBE, Governor General of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Ms. Shelley Antoni, Finance Manager, Flow SVG, Ms. Marlon Nansen James, Education Officer, Media and Communication Unit, other government officials, Lion Michael John, MGF, President, Lions Club St. Vincent South, other distinguished Lions and Leos, principals and teachers, judges, the media, listeners and viewers, ladies and gentlemen, fellow participants and students, good evening. The proposition which we are here to discuss asserts that there's an emerging population crisis in the English-speaking Caribbean, which is creating economic stagnation. We are here to debate the criticism that policymakers have been largely unreactive to this demographic shift. I believe that policymakers have been reactive to the crisis, but countries' responses have been slow or implemented in a vacuum, thus making them ineffective. Barbadian journalist David Ellis, moderating the Caribbean Economic Forum in 2022, described the crisis in these terms, and I quote, "The growth in the elderly population has social and economic implications for us right here in the Caribbean. An aging population increases the cost of healthcare, strains the pension system, and shifts demand drivers. It also means fewer people to work. It is a challenge that impacts almost every household," end quote. Policymakers have advised us to respond to the crisis by increasing the retirement age, reforming pension benefits, incentivizing reproduction, and encouraging immigration. However, despite these measures, implementation has been slow due to the lack of acknowledgement of persistent socioeconomic factors and stagnant economic growth. According to the IMF working paper on national insurance scheme reforms in the Caribbean, the call to increase the retirement age and reform pension benefits go hand in hand. Policymakers are asking persons to retire later and are also asking both employers and employees to increase their contributions so that the pension monies will not be depleted, leaving pensioners unable to receive their pensions. The working paper published on the IMF website, imf.org, indicated that the regional insurance schemes were relatively stable until 2017. That was 8 years ago. Among 13 Caribbean countries, 4 have completed the implementation of increases to the retirement age in the last 20 years. Barbados from age 65 to 67, Dominica from age 60 to 65, Jamaica from age 60 to 65 for women, and St. Lucia from age 60 to 65. If we are indeed facing a crisis, this response has been too slow. Diane Qualis, the director of ECLAC Sub-Regional Headquarters for the Caribbean, speaking at the Economic Forum, had indicated that 13 Caribbean countries have established legislative and institutional frameworks for addressing the issue of aging populations. While we too have embarked on pension reform, we have not done so legislatively. Are we successfully addressing the issue at this time? We will recall our own NIS indicating its pension reform program to increase the retirement age from 60 to 65, which will happen by 2028, and the increase in pension contributions from 6.5% to 8% for employees and 5.5% to 7% for employers by January 2027. Mr. Chairman, again, decisions are being made, but the implementation of said decisions is too slow to curb a crisis that is already upon us. The issue of persons receiving non-contributory pensions also looms large. Thus, it is necessary to focus on pension reform. Pension reform requires increased pension contributions and taxation. Mr. Chairman, let's be honest. Asking an already cash-strapped society to accept taxes while the economy is stagnant will see no buy-in from the public. The conversation on how to address the crisis must be sustained, and it must be genuine. It must include sector-specific interventions to attract small enterprises and self-employed workers who are operating informally to register with the national insurance agencies and formalize their operations. Are we seeing enough of this approach? Let us now turn our attention to the idea that incentivizing reproduction can address the challenge of this demographic shift. This directly impacts women, their empowerment, and women-led households, as women are the ones who give birth. We are the ones whose lives are immediately changed forever by producing life. The birth rate in Jamaica fell to 1.3 births per woman. This was described as a dramatic fall, while the UN Population Division has indicated that the Vincentian birth rate is 1.7 births per woman, which is below the 2.1 births minimum needed to keep the population stable and not in decline. The decline in births across the English-speaking Caribbean is real. There's a direct correlation between increased opportunities for education and employment for women and decreased births. The idea of incentivizing the increase of births of children, that is to say, empowering women to have more children, is something that has gained a peculiar type of attention from policymakers in some first world countries, notably the USA and Trump administration. There, the recommendation is to pay a woman $5,000 as a bonus for having a child. The US reaction to this policy suggestion has been swift and eviscerating. Advocates have been calling it sheer lunacy, coercive, counterproductive recipes for failure. In the Caribbean, the cost of living has increased, and the cost of having children at this point is almost prohibitive. With high unemployment rates, it is no small wonder that fewer children are being born. The idea that a woman must choose between being a mother and being successful in a career outside of the kitchen and as a homemaker has taken root. Research suggests that women who access higher education and professional careers have had fewer children, while those who have multiple children are often those without the ability to be stable financially. Mr. Chairman, the challenge that policymakers are facing is to create a work environment where those women employed and leading single-parent families can earn enough to grow their families. The challenge is to encourage an environment where more women in a single-parent household can thrive. The challenge is to encourage families to have children by creating policies that make it possible for them to work remotely, where the cost of daycare is not prohibitive and parents can comfortably afford to care for their children. And then is when more children will be born. Again, it is not solely the demographic shift that impacts the birth rate. It's the fact that a stagnant economy does not provide a fertile environment for those who can afford to have multiple children and not burden the state. Finally, Mr. Chairman, we look at migration trends. The suggestion that we respond to the population crisis by encouraging others to immigrate to our region is one solution. Our region must first be seen by migrants as attractive for employment and full of opportunities for them to have a good life and earn more than what they stand to earn in their home countries. Mr. Chairman, again, I must echo those at the Caribbean Economic Forum 2022 who did not deny immigration as a solution, but I join them in saying that in order to offer immigration as a solution, it would require the interrelated obligation of policymakers acting to reverse economic stagnation by addressing crime and unemployment rates throughout our region. Are we perceived as a safe region? Yes, but it depends on where you go. Jamaica and Trinidad dominate crime statistics regionally. If we believe that efforts to address societal issues of crime and economic stagnation have been inadequate, ineffective, or too slow, then our policymakers still have more to do. According to the Island Studies Journal No. 6, Volume 2, published by the Institute of Canada, the movement of the population of the Caribbean throughout its history is marked by outward migration of Caribbean people to the US, UK, and Canada. They see migration from the Caribbean as part of the visible sensitivity of small populations to boom-bust economic cycles, political upheavals, and natural disasters. Mr. Chairman, to close, policymakers have suggested 4 strategic approaches to tackle the emerging population crisis. However, it is evident that implementation has been quite slow and have not addressed larger socioeconomic concerns. Therefore, I would like to suggest that we as a region work on improving the growth of our economies by addressing crime, the empowerment of women and youth, attracting foreign direct investments, revitalizing agriculture and tourism, and investing in technology. Addressing these issues, along with increasing the retirement age, reforming pension, incentivizing reproduction, and encouraging immigration, will equip us to proactively respond to the emerging population crisis in the English-speaking Caribbean in a way that does not appear lethargic or simply reactive. This four-pronged strategy cannot succeed in a vacuum. I thank you.
Serenity Joseph of the St. Vincent Girls High School. And Serenity spoke for
9 minutes, 53 seconds.
And as we get ready for the next participant, just ensuring that the judges have enough time to prepare themselves for the next competitor. And we prepare for Sophia de Riggs of the St. Joseph's Convent, Kingstown. And as Sophia comes, we just want to let Sophia know about the bell rules. So Sophia, you have to listen carefully as you settle in. In this category, you would hear the first bell when you get to this podium and you're ready to present. Sounds like that. The second bell you'll get at 8 minutes into your presentation, and the third and final bell will go at 10 minutes into the presentation. And as we just allow the judges to tidy up and prepare for the scoring for the next competitor, just a quick note about Lions Club International and the broader organization under which we function. It is the world's largest club, a service club organization, founded in 1917 by Melville Jones, and has over 1.4 million members in approximately 46,000 clubs across 200 countries in different geographical areas. So now we know the scope of the larger Lionistic movement in which we operate. So, ready with the judges, and we go to competitor number 3, Sophia de Riggs in Joseph's Convent, Kingstown.
Mr. Chairman, Her Excellency, Dame Susan Duggan, GCMG, OB, Governor General of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Ms. Shelley Ann Tony, Finance Manager, FLO, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Ms. Marla Nanton James, Education Officer, Media and Communication Unit, other government officials, Lion Michael John, MJF, President, Lions Club, St. Vincent South, other distinguished Lions and Leos, principals and teachers, judges, the media, listeners and viewers, ladies and gentlemen, fellow participants and students, good evening. I live where you vacation is a popular sentiment expressed throughout the English-speaking Caribbean. However, are citizens simply existing, or are they bidding their time to leave like countless others have? Voluntary large-scale migration from the Caribbean to North America and Europe commenced in the first half of the 20th century. It began with high demand for labor for harvesting fruits, and after World War II, it extended to jobs in the healthcare. Today, along with voluntary migration, reduction in birth rates, and unreactive policy have contributed to the economic stagnation in the English-speaking Caribbean. This is not just data. It's a slow, silent transformation that affects everything across our social pyramid: the labor force, the education system, the health sector, and most importantly, the economy. Across the Caribbean, populations are shrinking. More people are leaving than being born, and those who remain are getting older or dying out. This quiet crisis has stagnated our economies, but our leaders are treating it like background noise instead of a national emergency. One of the main factors that has led to economic stagnation is that of migration. Throughout the English-speaking Caribbean, many persons emigrate mainly for economic mobility. Chairperson, research has shown that the emigration rate in some English-speaking Caribbean countries has exceeded 50% of their home population. In fact, Guyana and St. Vincent and the Grenadines has an emigrant rate of about 58.2% and 55.3% respectively. Additionally, the push and pull factors of migration, such as poverty, lack of jobs, and better standard of living, have all contributed tremendously to economic stagnation. Why? Because our working population is decreasing, and with this consistent declination, our economic cusp will never take off. Yet governments throughout the English-speaking Caribbean are bragging about economic growth. How is this possible when we continue to lose our brilliant minds because of low salaries, poor quality of life, limited room for personal expansion, all resulting to economic stagnation? Chairperson, while there have been a steady decline globally with the birth rate, in the English-speaking Caribbean, it is even worse. The average birth rate is approximately 14 per thousand population, which sadly is one of the lowest fertility rates in the world. Jamaica, for example, the current birth rate is 11.4 births per thousand population as of 2022. How does this affect us, Chairperson? Currently, governments across the English-speaking Caribbean are proposing to increase national insurance costs. In St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the payment has been increased, as well as pension age from 60 to 65 years, creating a 5-year gap before retirees can access their pension. Such a policy further results in economic stagnation. These are the policies that are being considered, Chairperson, not innovative policies, which will motivate young people to have children. In fact, the only policy some prime ministers across the English-speaking Caribbean recommended to their citizens is for them to have children to combat the decline rate. They have failed to propose any incentives for their respective countries. As such, tax continues to increase, further resulting in economic stagnation. In countries such as Switzerland and Norway, governments have implemented forward-thinking policies as an incentive to boost population growth. For example, families get tax credits, child benefits, free housing, education, and health care. Another factor that has led to economic stagnation is that of brain drain. Many young people do not remain in the Caribbean because they desire a better quality of life. Hence, they emigrate to countries that afford them this opportunity so that they can have a better standard of living. Currently, the Bahamas has the highest average monthly salary in the English-speaking Caribbean, which is between $1,000 and $1,800 US, while average basic salary in the US is $5,000 US monthly. Therefore, it makes more sense for our young professionals to emigrate from the English-speaking Caribbean in search of a better life. Multiple countries have implemented programs to keep their young population. These programs are put in place so that they do not lose their brilliant minds to places like the US, United Kingdom, and Canada. One such program is in Greece, where the government has introduced the Programma Regressa, which offers €3,000 monthly wage and covers 70% of the salary for returning workers who can bring innovative ideas. While Australia is offering fresh insights into its employment market, over the past 5 years, Australia has expanded its job market to increase jobs in health and social care, technicians, and trade workers. These are the policies, Chairperson, the leaders of the English-speaking Caribbean need to implement. Instead, they depend on remittances rather than addressing the reasons that contribute to people leaving, as well as making countries more attractive to young professionals. In the English-speaking Caribbean, migration has long been treated as a natural part of life. But when migration outpaced birth rates for decades, it's not just a trend, it's a warning sign. This inaction reveals a troubling lack of foresight. Without strategic planning, we risk allowing our societies to grow old and economically weak before realizing the extent of the damage. Even when population is mentioned in speeches or reports, it rarely translates into real action. Policies are often vague, underfunded, or simply never implemented. When fewer young people are in the workforce, productivity slows down. Industries like tourism, agriculture, construction, and public services depend heavily on a steady supply of young, energetic workers. If that supply dissipates, businesses cannot expand, investments are slow, and innovation suffers. Throughout the OECS, the agriculture sector has been hit hard. Older farmers are retiring and young people are uninterested. This, in turn, affects food production, exports, and income for families. Tourism, which relies on service workers like tour guides, hotel staff, and transport operators, are also seeing shortages. In Barbados, an aging population means higher health care and pension costs. This puts pressure on government spending, leaving less money for investment in job creation, education, or infrastructure. Jamaica, though larger, faces the same issue. A significant portion of its skilled workforce migrates each year, creating gaps in critical areas like teaching, nursing, and engineering. This brain drain weakens the economy and slows national development. When we combine fewer workers, fewer taxpayers, and more elderly dependents, the result is clear: economic stagnation. Our economies cannot grow when their human engines are running out of fuel. Chairperson, the Caribbean stands at a crossroad. Our population is declining, our youths are migrating, and our economies are losing vitality. The connection between these trends is undeniable. But when people leave and fewer are born, the economy slows. And if our leaders remain inactive, stagnation becomes inevitable. But we are not helpless. If policymakers act decisively, if they plan for the future rather than reacting to the past, our region can thrive once again. The population crisis is real, but it is not irreversible. We need bold leadership, innovative policies, and the collective will to secure a sustainable future for our nations. The choice before us is clear. We can continue to ignore these signs, or we can act now to protect the Caribbean we love. And I believe it's time to take that stand. I thank you.
Sophia de Riggs of the St. Joseph's Convent, Kingstown, competitor number 3. And Sophia spoke for?
9 minutes, 23 seconds.
Right. And perfect timing for the first 3 competitors, and we look forward to being the same for the remaining. Our next competitor from the Mountain View Adventist Academy, Joshua Samuel. And Joshua, listen to your instructions carefully as it regards to the bell. The first bell will go when you take to the lectern and you're ready to present. Second bell will go at 8 minutes, and the third and final bell at 10 minutes. Just want to ensure that the judges are ready before we proceed. So a reminder that our auditors for tonight, BDO, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, put your hands together for auditors. And a reminder of the judges, Mr. Utama Rose, Dr. Risa Noel McBarnett, Mr. Jimmy Ford, Ms. Chanel Hadaway, and Ms. Shadisha George Mattis. Let's proceed with competitor number 4, Joshua Samuel, Mountain View Adventist Academy.
Mr. Chairman, Her Excellency Dame Suzanne Duggan, GCMG OBE, Governor of General of St. Vincent. Miss Shelley Anthony, Finance Manager, Flow SVG. Mrs. Marla Nanton James, Education Officer, Media and Communication Unit. Other government officials, Lion Michael John, MJF, President's Lions Club St. Vincent South, other distinguished Lions and Leos, principals and teachers, judges, the media, listeners and viewers, ladies and gentlemen, fellow participants and students, good evening. Chairperson, I want you to picture something. Picture the main street of your hometown. Now, imagine it with fewer children playing, more shuttered shops, and a profound, pervasive quiet. This is not a scene from a dystopian film. This is the emerging reality for many nations across our English-speaking Caribbean. The topic we must confront is sobering. The emerging population crisis in the English-speaking Caribbean is creating economic stagnation. And yet, our policymakers have been largely unreactive to this demographic shift. I will begin by defining key terms, then examine the economic and demographic trends to grasp the magnitude of the problem. Next, we probe the solutions implemented globally and here in the Caribbean. And finally, I will recommend solutions suitable to our context that are guaranteed to produce positive, sustainable results. To begin, let's define our terms, for clarity is the first step to action. The emerging population crisis. This is a phenomenon of population decline and aging, driven by low birth rates below the replacement level of 2.1 children per woman, and high net emigration, where more of our best and brightest leave than choose to stay. A phenomenon we call brain drain, according to World Bank 2022. Economic stagnation. This is a prolonged period of little or no growth in a region's economy, from 0 to 3%, according to World Bank 2024. Demographic shift. This is a fundamental change in the structure of a population. In our case, it is the shift from a young, growing population to an older, shrinking one. UNDESA 2022. The statistics paint a worrying picture. The Caribbean region's population growth rate was a mere 0.4% in 2021. SVG had a growth rate of negative 7% last year, according to World Bank 2025. Low population growth rate is a symptom of increased female education, access to contraception, urbanization, high cost of child rearing, and emigration of young adults. UN Population Division 2022. Chairperson, we are losing our people. The World Bank's 2023 report shows brain drain regionally is above 70%. Jamaica has reached a devastating 85.8%, one of the highest rates globally. High brain drain is caused by higher salaries abroad, limited job opportunities, unemployment, political instability, underemployment, and easier migration salaries. Are we selling off our future, one skilled citizen at a time? And what is the result? Economic stagnation. Our workforce is shrinking. Our domestic markets are contracting. What business will invest in a market that keeps shrinking every year? Our tax base is eroding. How will we pay for the health care and pensions of our elderly growing population when there are fewer young workers to contribute? The region has experienced anemic GDP growth for years. The Caribbean Development Bank reports that our total factor productivity has been stagnant or declining. The World Bank projects global economic growth at 3.46% for 2025. But the Caribbean is just 2.5%, according to World Bank 2024. It is frightening that our growth is below the world average, but even more alarming is its persistent decline. Chairperson, our own leaders see the threat. Prime Minister of Jamaica, Andrew Holness, states, and I quote, The single greatest threat to Jamaica's economic future is not a lack of potential, but a lack of human capital. We are facing a crisis. End quote. Caribbean News Global 2024. Prime Minister Mia Mottley echoes this. Quote, if we do not have enough people to work, to create, to consume, then we will have an economy that is stagnant. Caribbean Development Bank 2023. Our own Dr. the Honorable Ralph Gonsalves acknowledges this critical threat. We are losing some of our best and brightest to migration, a tradition which has both benefits and profound costs. Regional Policy Initiatives 2024. Our challenges are not solely demographic. Heavy dependence on volatile tourism, the export of mainly primary products, high import bills, and climate vulnerabilities, among other issues, hinder growth. OECD 2019. Yet, the most critical challenge is the pervading loss of human resources. So, Chairperson, why has our response been so fragmented and inadequate to the scale of this threat? The answer lies in a perfect storm of failures. First, the failure of political will, where 5-year election cycles are no match for a 50-year demographic shift. Second, the failure of fiscal courage, where the high cost of action always seems to trump the catastrophic cost of inaction. And third, and most insidious, the failure of vision, where we have become addicted to remittances, a monthly wire transfer that placates our conscience while our future is shipped away on a plane. We are not the first to face this challenge. Japan focused on automation and robotics to compensate for its lack of workers. Italy and Greece created brain gain incentives. Estonia and others have launched pro-family policies. The world is a laboratory of ideas waiting for us to adapt. Fortunately, some Caribbean islands are attempting to tackle these problems, and we applaud them for their pioneering efforts. Barbados Prime Minister Mottley is expanding the BIMAP Skills Program. Jamaica's Prime Minister Holness is boosting diaspora investment via JAMPRO. SVG's Prime Minister Gonsalves has prioritized modernization and commercialization of the agricultural sector to create employment. CDB 2023. Despite these efforts, most islands remain unreactive, and the problem persists and worsens, even in the islands that are actively seeking to ameliorate this economic crisis. Clearly, national efforts are not enough. Most islands lack the necessary resources to tackle this issue effectively. Governments are engaging in a series of small-scale national projects when what we need is a bold, unified, regional approach. Consequently, I propose a compact for our Caribbean future built on 3 pillars. First, turn remittances into investment. Let us create a regional diaspora and returning national investment fund that allows our diaspora to invest in vetted small and medium-sized businesses across the region. Second, free our talent to work. Let us fast-track the CSME with a regional skills passport, a digital passport that pre-verifies qualifications for key professions. No more bureaucracy. Third, launch a regional agro-processing and branding initiative. Let's co-invest in modern facilities and create strong branded regional products. Carry best, sauces, juices, canned goods for our tourism and for markets and for export. These are just a few of many immediately enforceable initiatives. The One Caribbean program was launched as a regional strategic initiative in 2023 with the goal of addressing regional fragmentation, achieve economies of scale, and leverage collective strength. A noble step needed in the right direction. Caripe is the Eastern Caribbean is another critical step in the right direction. In conclusion, Chairperson, Caribbean leaders see the impending crisis. The framework for progress is present, and the examples of how to remediate are profuse. A regional compact is a prerequisite to strengthen national response. We can surrender to the quiet decay of our islands or unite with fierce urgency. The choice is ours. Do we continue to be trapped by short-term thinking and fiscal fear, or do we choose a different future? A future where we cooperate to rewrite our destiny and forge a sustainable Caribbean economy. Chairperson, the time for observation is over. The time for action is now. I thank you.
Joshua Samuel of the Mountain View Adventist Academy, and he spoke for
9 minutes, 4 seconds.
round of applause. Everyone thus far going beyond the 9-minute mark, so we're excellent with our timing tonight. And we have 2 more competitors to go to face for the very first segment tonight. Our next competitors from the North Union Secondary School, Braxton Lewis. So Braxton, as you settle in, just to let you know about the bell and how it works. So the first bell will be when you take to the lectern and you're about to present. Second bell will go at 8 minutes into your presentation, and the third and final bell at 10 minutes. Just ensuring that our judges are ready, and we'll come to you shortly. The timekeepers for tonight, Lions Sharon Williams and Suzette May, they're the ones responsible for ensuring that the time is captured and it's reflected in our judging score sheets. Again, we're grateful to our sponsor, Flow, for continuing this partnership, and the Ministry of Education for also ensuring that they reach out to the schools and engage the schools with the various topics from the preliminaries all the way into the final round of competition. We're always grateful to engage with those partners in bringing you this competition, at least for the last 3 decades under the Lions brand. So, are you ready for the next competitor? Braxton Lewis, North Union Secondary School.
One, two. Yeah. Mr. Chairman, Her Excellency, Dame Susan Duggan, GCMG, OBE, Governor General of SVG. Ms. Shelley Ann Tony, Finance Manager, Flow SVG. Mrs. Masla Nanton James, Education Officer, Media and Communication Unit. Other government officials, Lion Michael John, MJF, President Lions Club St. Vincent South. Other distinguished Lions and Leos, its principals and teachers, judges, the media, listeners and viewers, ladies and gentlemen, fellow participants and students, good evening. I imagine one day, when I'm all grown up, sitting out on the porch with my wife, Kim, on a quiet evening. The radio will be playing softly in the background, a gentle breeze passing through, with the sun dipping behind the hills. While watching our children frolic in the yard, I probably turn to her and joke, "Babes, you want to make 2 more?" And maybe she smiled a little before looking me straight in the eye and saying something like, "Braxton, darling, I love this country, but it's getting too hard to raise a family here. I've been seriously thinking about getting out of this place." I can imagine those words hitting me hard, not because Kim didn't love home, but because she was right. Her words would echo the reality so many Caribbean families are facing today, and it brings us to the topic for discussion tonight. The emerging population crisis in the English-speaking Caribbean is creating economic stagnation. Yet, policymakers have been largely unreactive to this demographic shift. Before we dive in, let's take a moment to understand some key terms. The United Nations 2023 explains that an emerging population crisis occurs when declining birth rates, aging, and migration begin to threaten a country's stability. They further describe a demographic shift as a change in the population's structure as a result of fertility, mortality, and migration. And according to the International Monetary Fund 2019, economic stagnation is a period of little or no economic growth. Considering this, it is safe to say that the emerging population crisis in the English-speaking Caribbean is creating economic stagnation. However, policymakers cannot be deemed unreactive. Rather, their measured and deliberate pace of response has failed to keep up with the rapidly escalating challenges. To change this course, policymakers must take decisive action to promote family support, fertility incentives, and create economic opportunities. Chairperson, falling fertility rates are a central factor driving the emerging population crisis in the English-speaking Caribbean, posing significant challenges to economic growth. Our very own Prime Minister, Dr. Ralph E. Gonsalves, has publicly emphasized the need for women of childbearing age to have more children to address the country's declining birth rate. In a press conference on the 27th of May, 2024, he stated, and I quote, "We need them to have a few more babies." End of quote. If you never took him seriously, maybe you should, because according to the Pan-American Health Organization, as of 2024, the total fertility rate in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Dominica is 1.5 children per woman, well below the replacement level of 2.1. This decline is attributed to factors such as rising costs of living, improved access to education and career opportunities for women, increased access to contraception, and evolving cultural attitudes. Chairperson, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development 2024 predicts that a decline in the working age population, driven by fewer young people entering the workforce, will result in average per capita GDP growth falling to just 0.6% annually to 2060. This projected slowdown is expected to place even greater strain on our already overburdened social services, further challenging our ability to sustain economic stability. Chairperson, migration has become another critical factor deepening the population crisis. According to the International Monetary Fund 2024, Jamaica ranks among the highest globally for brain drain. On the Fragile States Index, its human flight and brain drain indicator scores 9.1 out of 10, where 10 indicates the most severe levels. Peer-reviewed research by Todini 2025 and Khan 2024 underscores that brain drain removes the human capital necessary for growth, leaving the economy unable to expand and adapt, leading to stagnation. Numbers may speak to economic stagnation, Chairperson, but the reality is further distressing. Just imagine your mother, father, or child in desperate need of emergency surgery, yet the hospital is empty. No doctors, no nurses, no skilled hands to save them. Is this the Caribbean we are willing to accept? Well, with our policies to retain talent, develop human capital, and create domestic opportunities, the region risks declining productivity, stifled innovation, and a future where essential services fail the people who need them most. Chairperson, while policymakers have enacted initiatives, their measured pace has not matched the urgency of these matters. Chairperson, imagine in a country, the Statistical Office within the Ministry of Finance, Economic Planning, and Information Technology announced that Census Day was set for Thursday, the 15th of June, 2023. This important activity, originally due in 2022, was delayed to 2023. And now, in 2025, we still await a report. Chairperson, you know who I mean. If it took 13 years to gather the facts, how long will it take to act on them? We definitely cannot plan effectively without timely data and a serious long-term demographic strategy. Furthermore, Chairperson, despite warnings from the Caribbean Development Bank, few nations have introduced short-term measures rather than enforce long-term sustainable strategies. For instance, Chairperson, in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, a pilot labor market information system was introduced in collaboration with the OECS and the International Labour Organization to digitize labor data and identify skills gaps. However, this initiative remains a tool rather than a comprehensive solution to the broader challenges of workforce development. Another temporary fix, Chairperson, was implemented on the 1st of October 2025, when Barbados, Belize, Dominica, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines allowed full free movement among their nationals. This measure seeks to retain talent within the region and reduce brain drain by creating greater employment mobility and opportunities. While these steps are promising, They are insufficient in addressing the deeper demographic crisis. Chairperson, if policymakers are serious about a sustainable future, action must replace delay. In Chile and Costa Rica, nutrition, parenting support, and paid parental leave show that targeted social policies can encourage family growth and support long-term economic and social stability while stabilizing fertility. The Caribbean has similar programs. For example, Barbados recently introduced a law to grant fathers paid leave. However, unlike the Caribbean, the policies in these countries are well-funded and integrated into broader social welfare systems, ensuring families can reliably use them. Chairperson, they are backed by strong institutions, consistent monitoring, and cultural acceptance that encourages participation. This is exactly what we need to emulate. Additionally, to address migration issues, governments must invest in economic opportunity zones, entrepreneurship incentives, and innovation hubs in key sectors such as digital services, renewable energy, and sustainable tourism. By creating real opportunities at home and actively engaging the diaspora through structured remote work and investment initiatives similar to Barbados' Work from Paradise visa, countries can reduce emigration, retain talent, and sustain national development. In conclusion, Chairperson, the emerging population crisis in the English-speaking Caribbean is not a distant threat. It is a present and growing reality. Declining fertility and the mass migration of skilled citizens are placing immense pressure on our economies, health systems, and social structures. While policymakers have taken some steps, the pace of response has been too slow to match the urgency of the crisis. We must acknowledge, it is no longer enough to acknowledge the problem. We must act with comprehensive family support, timely data collection, targeted youth retention programs, and bold economic reforms. Chairperson, I still dream of sitting on that porch with Kim. Only this time, when I ask, babes, you want to make 2 more? She smiles and says, yes, Braxton, I'd love to. I thank you.
I see the excitement is building. Braxton Lewis, North Union Secondary School, spoke for
9 minutes, 38 seconds.
And we're getting ready for the final competitor in the first segment. Of course, we have 2 more to go. And while we give the judges some time, and we give also Jaquan some instructions about the bell, listen carefully. First bell when you take to the platform, when you take to the lectern and you're ready to present. The second bell at 8 minutes, and the third and final bell at 10 minutes. So just make note of that for your presentation. And a reminder as well of our listeners and viewers across the various platforms. On radio, we have NBC Radio, WeFM, and Nice Radio. Television, VC3 Television, SVG Television, and across social media, Facebook pages of VC3, the Lions Club South page, their YouTube channel as well, and NBC Radio and the API Facebook pages. So a very wide audience, and we say good evening, good morning, good night, wherever you are following. So we're ready for the final competitor, Jaquan Edwards of the Thomas Saunders Secondary School.
Protocol being established. Mr. Chairman, Her Excellency Dame Susan Duggan, GCMG OBE, Governor General of SVG, Ms. Shelley Anthony, Finance Manager, Flow SVG, Ms. Marlon Anton James, Education Officer, Media and Communication Unit, other government officials, Lion, Michael John, MJF, Presidents, Lion Club, St. Vincent South, other distinguished Lions and Leos, principals and teachers, judges, media, listeners and viewers. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow participants, a pleasant good night. All my fellow participants have done a great job so far, and now it is my turn to close this part of the show. Putting climate change aside for now, the Caribbean's greatest threat is the one that no one is talking about: a vanishing population. The silence from policymakers proves that they have missed this ticking economic time bomb. Now, let me ask you this. What if our islands started to get quiet? What if the school playground had fewer children? What if there were fewer persons to bake bread, build homes, or drive taxis? This isn't a scary movie plot. This is the truth that we are facing in the English-speaking Caribbean. It is called a population crisis, and it is a big deal. What is population crisis, you may ask? According to the United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs Population Division, it defines population crisis as a significant and disruptive change in a population size or age structure, either too fast of a rise or too fast of a decline. That creates major economic, social, or environmental instability. It's like a tiny, invisible leak in the bottom of our sizable, beautiful Caribbean boat. I am going to expound on this hidden problem today. I'll debate about why it's happening, what it means for our pockets, and our future, and the future of the English-speaking Caribbean. Firstly, I would like you to take our country for example. In late May of 2024, the Honorable Dr. Ralph E. Gonsalves, Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, addressed the issue of declining population and birth rate in a news conference, urging women ages 25 to 30 to have more children. Because since 2000 to 2024, the country has faced a 11.4% decrease in population size, dropping from 113,545 to 100,616. In addition, of mid-2025, the estimated population of St. Vincent and the Grenadines would be 99,924, and this is a major issue. Following that, in early June of 2024, he further clarified his position during a press conference on June 3rd, 2024, acknowledging that women are focusing on their financial well-being. There is nothing wrong with women focusing on their financial well-being. It is a smart and necessary part of securing their future and becoming independent. However, having children would aid in the growth of the population as well as increase the fertility rate, which would in turn contribute towards the development of the country. Earlier this year, of June 2025, he again reiterated the necessity of a higher fertility rate for population growth during the press conference on June 10, 2025. The Prime Minister noted that the country's fertility rate is below the necessary 2.1% required to sustain the population. In addition, our best and brightest young people are leaving. They emigrate to North America, to the UK, or to other Caribbean countries. Why? To find better paying jobs, better education, and bigger opportunities. We train a nurse, a teacher, or an engineer, then they leave. Now you see that makes 0 sense. This is a drain of our precious talent, or otherwise known as a brain drain. So, what does this all add up to? The math is simple and a little scary. We have fewer young people entering the workforce to pay taxes and to create new ideas, and more elderly people who need support and care. Soon, the ratio won't be 5 workers for 1 retiree. The ratio would be 2 workers for 1 retiree. And that right there is a huge strain. Moreover, this population shift isn't just a social problem. It's an economic time bomb ticking under our feet. This is why the crisis is creating economic stagnation, which is just a fancy way of saying the empty wallet. This is what happens when our population shrinks and ages. The first problem is low productivity. Young people are usually the most productive, the ones who are starting businesses, working late, and learning new technologies. With fewer young people entering the workforce, this happens. The second problem is a shrinking market. Businesses need customers. The total number of people living here is shrinking, especially the younger spending population. Then businesses have fewer to sell to. Why would a foreign investor build a factory on our islands if they know that there are fewer customers and fewer workers every year? They won't. They would go somewhere else. There is a problem of tax burden. Our government pays for schools, police, roads, and hospitals with the taxes that working people pay. If the ratio of workers to non-workers gets too low, the few people who are working would have to pay a much higher percentage of their income in taxes. This is completely unfair, and it makes people even more likely to leave. It becomes a vicious cycle. This population crisis is like a handbrake on our economy. We have everything we need: the sun, the sea, and the smart people. But the aging and shrinking population is preventing us from moving forward. A truly reactive and aware government is what we need in order for a country to process. They would create a country that people want to return to and to remain in. This means taking serious action, serious long-term action. Being reactive looks like 1, immigration reform, welcoming skilled workers from other countries to fill the gaps in the workforce and pay taxes immediately. Makes it easier for them to live here, work here, and become citizens. Secondly, offering affordable childcare. This makes it less financially stressful for young people who are planning on having children, heavily subsidizing nurseries and daycares. Thirdly, investing in high-quality, high-paying jobs. Investing heavily in new industries like technology, renewable energy, and specialized tourism. This offering, 3% salary increase is only just the start. While we welcome this, the incentives should be greater. Last but not the least, care for the elderly. Setting up robust, efficient systems. Families don't have to carry the entire financial burden on themselves. These may be tough choices, but these are the necessary ones. Ignoring the leak in the boat won't make the water go away. It will just sink us slow. Chairperson, if our leaders can see this issue and have taken the time off to address this issue, we know as citizens, we know as the population must be willing to cooperate with our leaders in order to have a fully functioning and productive country. Our islands are vibrant, warm, and full of life. As our slogan says, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the Caribbean that you are looking for. We need to turn that empty wallet into full potential. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Jaquan Edwards of the Thomas Saunders Secondary School. And Jaquan, yes, you can clap. Go ahead.
9 minutes, 15 seconds.
9 minutes, 15 seconds, and that rounds off the first part of the competition. Put your hands together for all of the competitors. Some wonderful presentations tonight. And as we prepare for the next category and give the judges a bit of time, a reminder to please put your phones on silent. I've been hearing videos playing in the background, alarms going off, phones ringing. So please, if for the sake of the judges who are right in front and need to hear and not be distracted, we ask that you do that. And speaking of phones, I have to tell you what the prizes are for tonight's winners. And let me grab my phone to do that. So, Flo is offering some wonderful prizes here tonight. The first place winner will receive a device, compliments Flo, that is a Samsung Galaxy A26, and all other competitors will receive Samsung Galaxy A06 models, right? So it's A26, that's the first prize, and all other competitors will receive the A06. Again, thanks very much to Flo for their sponsorship this year once more. For those who missed the main topic, as we didn't repeat it along the competition, the main topic for tonight, the emergent population crisis in the English-speaking Caribbean, is creating economic stagnation, yet policymakers have been largely unreactive to this demographic shift. Now we're about to move to the student-prepared topics. And the student-prepared topics, listen carefully, we have everyone seated here, so this is how the bell would work for you. So the first bell would go when you take to the podium. The second bell would be at 4 minutes, and the third and final bell at 5 minutes. So you have a total of 5 minutes to be here and speaking. Just to give you an idea of the scoring, so that you can take note on your end mentally, for those who are also doing the individual scoring in the hall and at home. So for the student-prepared topic, material, 15 points, manner, 5 points, language, 5 points, and voice, also 5 points. A total of 30 points for this portion of the competition. Are we ready, judges? All right, just a few seconds there to make sure that is A-okay. So, are you ready for the next segment of competition? Oh, that doesn't sound too enthusiastic. Are you ready? Okay, that sounds better. So we'll go in the same order in which we started with the first segment, and we'll begin with Isaiah Tony of the St. Vincent Grammar School doing the first presentation.
Protocol already having been established, ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant night once again. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Chairperson, these are not numbers that predict the next Super 6 or Lotto draw. These are not numbers that represent the next percentage discounts at courts. No, Chairperson. These numbers reveal the fragile ages of the young girls that have frequently been reported missing in this country. But while many treat these reports with scant regard, I firmly believe that this social plague is a symptom of a much deeper systemic problem. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight I will speak on the topic, what is really missing? As reported by the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force, over 30 teenagers went missing in the first half of this year. Each of these cases reflects the troubling situations where some teens have sought refuge in the arms and homes of others, often as an escape from pain or neglect. One reader of the St. Vincent Times commented, and I quote, "Something must be going on in their homes that's not right. A lot of these kids are going through hell where they live." End of quote. Clearly, Chairperson, our teens are not the only ones that have gone missing. Missing is the protection and safety that children rightfully deserve in the home. According to the Convention on the Rights of the Child, children are entitled to a safe environment. Yet, in 2024, the Ministry of National Mobilization reported over 260 cases of child abuse in this country. Chairperson, in this blessed land of ours, some teens have to sleep with one eye open or hide a weapon under their pillows to ward off blood-related predators. In this blessed land of ours, some teenagers endure blows left, right, and center with no mediator coming to their rescue. Should we still wonder why so many of them are going missing? Missing too is the love, care, and attention that teenagers need and crave. They face immense pressure from school, friends, and family, which can affect their mental health. In the Searchlight newspaper, one writer opined that a lot of our teens run away due to mental illness, developed as a result of the toxic environments in which they live. Therefore, Chairperson, parents need to be more attentive and understanding. They need to listen to their children with open ears and open hearts. If our young people do not receive the love, care, and attention that is needed at home, they will definitely go looking for it elsewhere. And when they do, they will definitely go missing. Missing, Chairperson, is the village, the one that is supposed to help raise the children in our society. This concept embodies the collective responsibility of the community in rearing, shaping, and guiding our youth. On the contrary, in this country, many have become immune, indifferent, and cold-hearted towards the plight of our young people. Chairperson, the village must stop turning a blind eye to the abuse. The village must stop turning a deaf ear to the cries. The village must act now before another child goes missing. In closing, the rise in the number of missing teens in our country is not just a crisis. It is a mirror which reflects the ugly cracks in our society. If we truly care about our young people, we must look beyond the headlines. Every missing teen is a red flag. Every missing teen is a cry for help. Every missing teen demands urgent attention. As we desperately search for our missing teens, let us not forget to search for protection and safety. Let us not forget to search for love, care, and attention. Let us not forget to search for the village. Chairperson, let us not forget to search for what is really missing. I thank you.
Isaiah Tony of the St. Vincent Grammar School in the student prepared speech category spoke for
4 minutes, 54 seconds.
Doing very well with time tonight. It's good to see that. And we are preparing to go to the next competitor. But before we do so, we continue to remind you about the prizes. I know that our next competitor is eagerly awaiting to come, but we just want to make sure that our judges are ready. So hold on, we're coming to you. So the winning school tonight will receive a $3,000 prize towards the completion of a school development project. So I'm sure all of the competitors tonight are looking forward to leaving their legacy at their secondary school. When they leave, they'll know that they won this prize for an enhancement of some sort that will be there for generations to come, for many students to pass through that school. So we're ready now. Yes. So we go to competitor number 2. Okay, just a few more seconds. Make sure that we get those papers together. Great, let's go. Serenity, yes. Sorry. Serenity Joseph of the St. Vincent Girls High School.
Protocol already having been established, good evening once again. My topic this evening is, I may be Gen Z, but I just listen to me, Granny. All skim teeth and I laugh. Serenity, you hear me? I looked up from my tablet and wondered what was in my teeth. I raced to the bathroom to take a look. Granny was foot behind me. Not everybody who you smile up with is your friend. Watch the company you keep. She was warning me to pay attention to those who I claim as friends, those BFFs. She was telling me to choose my friends wisely. If your goal is to make a success of your life, surround yourself with friends who have the same mission. Learning to read people and see from their body language and their eyes and their actions whether you can trust them, whether they are genuine, is something that gets lost across the screen of a cell phone or a tablet. With our eyes darting on devices, swiping reel after reel, generations Z and Alpha get lost in this world that is for show, not real. We measure our worth by likes and comments from those who watch our pics and read our posts. Sometimes we say something just to get a response, because to get a response means that someone cares. Where is the village that raises the child? The auntie, the granny, the mommy, or the daddy, to listen, to hug, to offer advice, or to give positive affirmations. All me I water done. This meant she was fed up of talking, fed up of warning me ahead of some poor decisions I was hell-bent on making. I hope you know your book, like how them things on the social media. I secretly rolled my eyes in exasperation, so Granny can't catch me. I still respect that she can clout me to a kitchen towel if I took God out my thoughts and disrespected her with an eye roll. I understand that her life was not easy. Her education was halted as she was needed in the fields, the story of many women who grew up in her time. Education is power. After all, where you put in your head, nobody can take from you. And where you put in, and where you go get out. The amount of effort you put into any task is a direct correlation to the amount of success you will realize from your efforts. For my grandmother, education means freedom, upward mobility, and independence. I may be Gen Z, but I just listen to me, Granny. Fall who not hear shoe, does feel boop. Every time I planned on doing something that wasn't making sense, these words would stop me. For Granny, many negative consequences could be avoided if you listen to those who, according to Granny, butt them head already and can tell you what pitfalls to avoid. It's not how much times you fall down, it's how much times you get back up. Sometimes Granny let me face the consequences of a bad decision because actions have consequences. My grandmother and mother built me with a strong backbone and the confidence that I have what it takes to face life's challenges, and not with anxiety and the need for constant reassurance, but with confidence that the ups and downs of life will not break my spirit. I may be Gen Z, but I just listen to me, Granny. The devil does find work for idle hands to do. If you don't keep yourself occupied productively, you will find yourself making bad decisions and find yourself in trouble. My days are filled with productive tasks. Weekdays are filled with school and chores, and weekends are filled with church, chores, and yes, more chores. Granny is teaching me the value of hard work, teaching me to manage my time. They call these soft skills. Do what you have to do so you can get to do what you want to do. There is never a time where I can say that I have nothing to do. Train up a child in the way he shall go, so that when he is old, he will not depart from it. Positive routines from childhood guide you safely into adulthood. I may be Gen Z, but I just listen to my Granny. Not every pan knock your day. As a young person, I love the idea of going out, but according to Granny, you don't want to be the party regular. She says you must pick and choose where you go. Be scarce so that when you turn up, people must be jumping to get a chance in your company. It must be, hey girl, so long I see you, and not, oh lad, she again. You call that the wisdom of someone who has walked this road before. There will come a time when I can go anywhere I please. And by that time, if everything lines up, I'll be more than able to not only afford the outing, but have a good time with my real friends, my day ones. So I return to my schoolwork at the kitchen table with my mother and grandmother in the next room. I am grateful for her journey and her incessant reminders every day that she have no more eye water, we're put in and we're going to get out. And ultimately, I was placed on this earth to do something great. I may be Gen Z, but I just listen to me, Granny. I thank you.
That's a word of advice. Keep listening to your Granny. Serenity Joseph, St. Vincent Girls High School, spoke for
4 minutes, 53 seconds.
We're doing very well with our time. Let's continue that. We go to the next competitor, but before we do so, Just want to remind you of some of the excellent prizes being provided by our sponsor tonight. And we spoke about the winning school receiving $3,000 towards the completion of a school development project. But there's some goodies for the individuals. So for the first place winner, they'll receive $1,500 per year for 2 years for a scholarship. Likewise, for the second place, they'll receive $1,000 per year over a 2-year period. And third place, $500 per year over a 2-year period. So just you understand how it's broken down. So put your hands together once more for Flo. I don't think, no, that's not good enough. We can do better than that for Flo, right? Okay, a little bit better. All right, so we're ready for the next competitor, and we're moving quickly along, and we go to the St. Joseph's Convent, Kingstown. Sophia DeRiggs.
The protocol has already been established. My topic is PNP. Me lose enough things, me not get it back. Me feel empty, my heart heavier. Good night, chairperson, judges, competitors, and listening audience. As we get ready to approach another election season, I am here to declare that I will be actively participating in this upcoming general election. And I will be supporting no other party than PNP, policies, not partying. Why is this the case, chairperson? Because it has become a norm for political parties to place more emphasis on advertising an artist instead of their policies. Thus, I am left with no other choice than to establish a new political party in the 2025 general election. And it is PNP, policies, not partying. As a young person, I look around and realize that the dreams of Marcus Garvey, C.L.R. James, Claudia Jones, Eric Williams, and many more strong political activists throughout the Caribbean are no longer being promoted. No longer are our leaders focusing and aligning themselves with the fundamental issues that affect our Caribbean society today. Instead, they have become promoters who are actively competing to bring the biggest, baddest, and most popular artists to draw the young crowd. So, 1 week it was Chronic Law, next week it was Malidan. Yes, it had attracted and captured the attention of many young people. But what is the takeaway, chairperson? My body is tea? Or go back to your running habit before Mr. Automatic come for your body? But chairperson, my heart is heavy because it is disheartening that we are only seen as a demographic who is here for a short, fun time and not an essential part of the electoral process. Chairperson, with the advent of education revolution and the increasing numbers of persons entering and successfully completing primary, secondary, and tertiary education, why is it that young people are being marginalized? Yes, we love vibes and we are jiggy. But as the book of Ecclesiastes says, for everything there is a season. And this is the season to take us seriously. While some may argue that the purpose for these artists is to attract young people to come out and listen to the policies, chairperson, all I am hearing are excuses. Political leaders can find more creative and tasteful ways to promote their agenda. They can visit schools during assemblies in the morning, host symposiums, youth debates, spend an afternoon with guides, rangers, and cadets. There are so many avenues that can be explored without having to focus on partying, not policy. To every young person listening to my voice tonight, I am urging you to be smart. Do not allow anyone to distract you with partying and not policy. We are the future, and we should be treated as such. In fact, I demand that we be respected. You are the future is not just a quotation to make the powers that be feel like they are doing something. It is a fact. So if we are the future, then treat us like that. We need to be more proactively involved in the electoral process. We are more than a drone shot to be plastered on social media for views to boost egos. Look at the 6 of us here tonight, young, intelligent, and ambitious. The future. Put some respect to our names and stop promoting partying, not policy. In closing, I would like to remind every adult listening to my voice, I indeed feel empty, and truly, my heart is heavier. Empty because young people are treated like empty vessels to be filled. My heart is heavy because those who should be steering us along positively are the same ones, ironically, using what on a usual day is considered vile and lewd music for their personal benefits. As I take my leave, I want to leave this thought with you. Yes, my body is more than tea, because within it there is a brain, and I want every adult to respect that. Who am I, Sophia DeRiggs, your candidate for PNP? Policy, not partying. Good night.
Sophia DeRiggs of the St. Joseph's Convent, Kingstown, spoke for
4 minutes, 43 seconds.
And we are preparing for the next competitor. Going by quickly. We've been here for about 2 hours or so in steady competition. So maybe you could just stand for a minute, just to stretch your legs, make sure that your blood keeps flowing and everybody is okay. We've been sitting for a while. Feel free to stand just for about a few seconds, just to keep the blood flowing and stretch a little bit. That's fine. And that's okay. Have to make sure that you can make it through the rest of the competition. Yes, on your toes. That's also fine. Thank you. You may have your seats now. All right, so we're ready for the next competitor. And that competitor comes from the Mountain View Adventist Academy, Joshua Samuel.
Permit me to adapt the protocol that has already been established. Good evening again. Let me ask a question that's probably crossed your mind while scrolling through TikTok or walking through town. Is it wrong to want to look and feel good and have the latest name brands? Chairperson, that very question is at the heart of what I want to talk about this evening. The double-edged sword of consumerism and materialism. First, let's break it down. Consumerism is the culture of buying goods and services in ever-increasing amounts. Materialism is the belief that owning these things is one of the most important goals in life. It's the difference between enjoying a nice pair of sneakers and believing that those sneakers define your entire worth. So why discuss this? Because this is our daily reality. I am a teen who likes to dress nice and smell good. I think presentation matters, but I am also a Christian trying to find a balance between self-expression and self-control. This conflict became real during a talk with my parents about a trending North Face bag. I argued the brands last longer, but my mom countered with a truth we all know. Josh, you don't need the latest stuff to look good. And though I hesitated to admit it, she had a point. Chairperson, at my school, out of about 140 plus students from Form 3 to 5, only 35 don't have the trending bags. Now, could you imagine a student was absent for 2 weeks at the beginning of the school term? When asked why, he confessed that he was working to buy a new pair of Clarks and he felt he couldn't show his face at school if he didn't have them. This is where we see the dark side of materialism. Firstly, it creates immense social pressure and inequality. It forces some of us to equate our value with a price tag. At my school, spray-ground tags became so coveted that students started stealing them from each other's bags. The result? A complete ban on all tags. Something that was meant to be cool ended up causing division and distrust. Additionally, we've heard countless stories of youth selling their bodies, selling drugs, and even killing each other just to afford what's trendy. Secondly, it places an unfair financial burden on individuals. Parents should not feel pressured by us or other parents to keep up with the Joneses. How many of us have seen by the appearance of a parent, you can tell that they've spent their last dollar on brand names for their child? But wait, Before we declare all brands public enemy number one, let's be fair, there's a good side to this. You can take care of that Sprigong bag and save your parents' money since you can use the bag for several years. Story time again. My brother used to destroy 2 pairs of shoes in one term. They all ended with holes in the sole. He got a pair of Clarks, and it's been a year and they still look new. Eventually, my parents would save some money there. Well, it's not children alone who are materialistic. Adults, be honest with me tonight. Is your online shopping habit of such that would have to confiscate your credit or debit card? Remember Amazon? Remember Shein? Must you have the latest phones, clothes, and shoes too? Do we have a disposable mentality, always looking for the new trend and eager to upgrade? Where does this leave us? Trapped between a North Face and a hard place? Chairperson, I don't think so. The balance I'm learning is in the why. Are you buying something because you need it and appreciate its quality? Or are you buying it because you're afraid of what others would say if you don't? We must remember that these trendy fashions don't define us. You are not better and others are not worse. The wisest man that ever lived, Solomon, who had everything money can buy, made a revealing statement about chasing material possessions. In Ecclesiastes 1:4, he testifies, all is vanity. In essence, a life devoted to chasing material gain is meaningless. The only meaningful pursuit is to fear God. Let's be a generation known for our style, but also our substance. Let's be sharp, but also smart. Let's rock our brands, but never let our brands rock our character. After all, true swag doesn't come from the tag on your bag, but from the integrity in your heart. And no brand name can ever put a price on that. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Joshua. Of the Mountain View Adventist Academy, Joshua spoke for
4 minutes, 46 seconds.
just a few seconds separating all of the competitors thus far. Less than 5 seconds, I believe, or 6 seconds thereabout. The next competitor, as they get ready to present, and just a quick reminder about the bell that you need to listen for, competitors. For this category, this segment, the first bell will go when you take to the microphone and you're ready to present. The second bell will go at 4 minutes, and the third and final bell at 5 minutes. And when we get to impromptu, you'll find out about that as well. We look forward to the impromptu segment, which tends to be where a lot of the excitement is, but that's coming up. So those who are viewing and listening, don't go anywhere. We have that coming up for you. Let's invite at this time Braxton Lewis of the North Union Secondary School to do his presentation.
Protocol having already been established. Wait. Oh. This mango pretty. Ooh, pretty but it's sour. Isaiah, hold this. Imagine biting into a beautiful mango, bright, smooth, and seemingly perfect, only to be met with a sour taste. That's what happens when ripening is forced. Not just in nature, but in our nation. This image mirrors a growing issue in our society, prompting me to choose the topic, the forced ripening of our nation's fruits. When growth is rushed, the taste turns sour. The Oxford English Dictionary defines forced ripe as the premature or artificial ripening of a fruit, crop, or a person, especially a child who is prematurely developed. Chairperson, many young people are force ripened, not by biology, but by being caught in the rush to adulthood. They engage prematurely in sexual activities, underage drinking, and excessive partying. The results? Declining academic focus, emotional instability, and a generation falling short of its full potential. Chairperson, influenced by peers, media, music, today's youth believe that the illusion that being grown means being sexually active. Early sexual activity brings real consequences. unplanned pregnancies, STIs, emotional distress, and identity struggles, leading to mental and academic issues. But as the old people say, fowl that don't hear shoe will hear bop. Additionally, according to the US National Institute of Mental Health 2023, the brain's prefrontal cortex, responsible for decision-making and impulse control, doesn't fully develop until the mid-20s. Chairperson, evidently, young people are not mentally equipped to handle adult situations. No wonder our elders would say, if you rush river, you go drink mud. Furthermore, Chairperson, underage drinking and excessive partying affect brain development, sleep, and focus while promoting reckless behavior. The UK's National Health Services states that alcohol causes people to be more reckless and uninhibited. What starts as fun quickly leads to academic performance issues. Sadly, many parents and schools avoid having honest conversations, thinking silence protects, when it actually leaves youth learning from peers or media with dangerous outcomes. Youths may seem polished externally, but inside, many are disconnected from their true selves, not because of who they are, but because of what they rushed to become. The result? Spoiled fruits. To fix this, families, educators, and communities must create environments that promote emotional intelligence, self-respect, patience, self-control, and long-term thinking. Open talks about sex, alcohol, and peer pressure are vital, not to shame, but to empower. Otherwise, as the old adage says, where sweet nanny goat go run him belly. What feels good now can bring regret later. Fundamentally, Chairperson, we must give our youth the time and space to grow, to fail, reflect, and mature naturally. Adulthood is not a performance, but a responsibility. Grow at your own pace so that your life won't just look good, it will feel right. And that is something no ripening agents can ever give you. In conclusion, the forced ripening of our nation's youth is a silent crisis. Engaging in adult behaviors like sexual activity, drinking, and partying might give the illusion of maturity, but the academic, emotional, and psychological costs are too high. If we continue to value speed over development, we will continue to raise generations that look ripe, but are unready, leaving a sour taste in our collective mouth. It's time we change the recipe, not to rush the fruit, but to cultivate it with patience, care, and wisdom. Only then will the taste be sweet and the harvest full. I thank you.
Braxton Lewis of the North Union Secondary School spoke for
5 minutes.
5 minutes, exactly 5 minutes. Talk about timing tonight. We have one more to go in this category, and I'll just ensure that we're ready for them. Jaquan, prepare yourself to come and deliver your piece from the Thomas Saunders Secondary School. So put your hands together for Jaquan Edwards.
With protocol already having been established, a pleasant good night once again. Every young person here, including those viewing online, has the potential to do great things and to become great persons. But potential is a passive word. It implies something to happen. What we need to recognize is the active unfolding power of youth when they are truly involved, accepted, and appreciated. This is the reason I chose the topic Youth Involvement, Acceptance, and Appreciation. I've constructed my speech using 3 pillars. Firstly, involvement. Involvement, according to Cambridge Online Dictionary, is the act or process of taking part in something. It is much more than having a youth representative on a committee. It's about recognizing that every challenge we face today, from climate change to economic inequality, is lived by and inherited by today's young adults. To solve these problems effectively, young voices must be at the drafting table, not just in the audience. Involvement is practical. It injects fresh perspectives, digital literacy, and a high tolerance for disruptive change into stagnant systems. Think about it. Activists driving global conversations on sustainability, the entrepreneurs reshaping the digital economy, or the student leaders demanding better mental health resources. They aren't waiting for permission, they are showing up and leading. Failure to involve our youth is not only being dismissive, but we are being inefficient and unethical. Secondly, and perhaps the most critical for unlocking that power, is acceptance. Acceptance is when too often young ideas are met with the discouraging phrase, "We've tried that before," or "You'll understand when you're older." This is a barrier, not a blueprint. This is why young men and young women turn to the streets and pick up guns and drugs. For young people, acceptance is the antidote to the fear of failure. When a community accepts their contribution, it fosters an environment where it is safe to try, safe to fail, and safe to learn. True acceptance isn't agreement. It's respect for their dignity and participation. It says, "We see you, we hear you, and we need what you bring, even if it makes us uncomfortable." Finally, we arrive at the fuel that sustains continuous engagement: appreciation. Appreciation is the simplest act with the greatest reward. It's the consistent, genuine recognition of the energy, time, and sacrifice young people pour into their communities, their causes, and their work. Appreciation doesn't always have to be a trophy or a ceremony. It can be a mentor investing time, an organization giving a young person credit by name, or simply saying, "Thank you for your voice. It changed my mind." When young people feel appreciated, they move from being temporary volunteers to invested shareholders in the community's success. They teach us that every little thing is valuable. Involvement is the doorway, acceptance is the platform, and appreciation is the light that illuminates that path. This is what I believe. Youths, remember that no matter where you come from, the reputation that your family may have, or the situation that you are in, remember that there is an almighty, all-knowing, and powerful God, which means there is always a way out and there is always a greater path. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Jaquan Edwards of the Thomas Saunders Secondary School. Jaquan spoke for
4 minutes, 37 seconds.
4 minutes, 37 seconds. Won't you agree with me that we all had some excellent presentations tonight in this category, as with the main topic? Indeed. And we look forward to what the impromptu segment has to offer. And this is where the excitement builds as we get closer to the end of tonight's competition. But we're doing well with time all around. And as we prepare to do that, just to remind our listeners, viewers, and those who are gathered here about what the judges will be looking for when we get to the impromptu. Material, 5 points. Manner, 5 points. Language, 5 points. And voice, 5 points. So all adding up to 20 points in total for this segment. So, as we prepare the judges, again, a big thanks to Flo, without whom we're not able to do this competition, as you heard from the President's remarks. It's a quite costly venture to put on, and we're grateful that we continue with this partnership, and of course with the input of the Ministry of Education in ensuring that the schools are all on board from preliminaries right through to the final round of competition. Thanks again to our auditors, our auditor tonight from BDO, who will be assisted in the finalizing of the results, which usually comes very quickly, so don't worry too much about how long it's going to take. We're going to get that to you so you can get home in good timing. So are we ready for the impromptu? But just to let the students know that we'll provide the writing material for you, so you don't have to worry about that. And we want to also give you some guidance as to how this segment works. So for the impromptu, these are the bell rules. The first bell will go when you stand in front of the mic. That's after you select the topic. So the first thing you'll do is select a topic from a bag. You'll see the bag in a while. After that, you'll hear the second bell at the end of that first minute. That is when you begin presenting. And the third and final bell will come at the end of the third minute to signal the wrapping up, the end of your presentation. I'll go through it one more time. It can get a bit confusing. So the first bell is when they stand here. They'll have 1 minute to prepare their script, make their notes, etc. And when the bell goes, that is the start of the 2 minutes in which they will need to speak for. Everyone's clear about that? Great. Okay, so we begin and ask our first competitor to move forward to select his topic, Isaiah Tony of the St. Vincent Grammar School. Let's see what Isaiah will be picking out of the bag. So we're going to see what Isaiah picked out of the bag of lovely topics. Independence. Isaiah will be speaking on the topic of independence.
Protocol already having been established, ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant night once again. The topic I have selected for my impromptu speech is independence. When we say that someone or something is independent, it means that it can operate without assistance. There are different types of independence, whether it be from colonial rule, from parents or other figures, or from oppression. We in St. Vincent and the Grenadines have recently celebrated our 46th year of independence from British colonial rule. And I will extrapolate on the 3 points that I've previously made from colonial rule. Countries in the Caribbean were once colonized by European powers. They managed our resources, they took our people, and they plundered. In the words of Prime Minister Mia Mottley, they ravish, they plunder, they make it desert and call it peace. We have been able to achieve our independence through the vigorous work of different figures, such as the first Prime Minister, Dr. Independence may also come from other figures and parents. For example, when a child turns 18, we will say that they are independent of their parents' support. They are able to make their own decisions. They are able to work independently. Well, some might immediately turn to drinking. And you can also be free or independent from oppression, like the African slaves which were brought here from Western Africa through the transatlantic slave trade. In conclusion, Madam Chairperson, independence comes in many different forms, and it is heavily sought after. I thank you.
Isaiah Tony, St. Vincent Grammar School, in the impromptu segment, spoke for
2 minutes, 7 seconds.
2 minutes, 7 seconds. All right, so we are moving along quickly. We're about to have the next, just to make sure that the judges are in sync. We're going to be moving very quickly, but can't leave the judges behind because they have to do their scoring and their tabulations. So just a few moments. But we are loving the competition thus far, and the comments that I'm seeing on our socials are quite encouraging. Of course, there are a few negative ones, but that's always the case. But a very large amount of encouraging comments about the competitors tonight, about the intellectual discussion and discourse. So kudos to you, all 6 of you. You've been getting very good comments on our platforms across yes, that's excellent. So keep that going as we get ready for the next competitor in this category. And after Serenity, who's up next, we'll have Sophia. So Sophia, you can prepare yourself. You don't know what the topic will be just yet. We'll find out in a while from now from that little bag that Lion Simona has in her hand. So are we ready to pick the next topic? Yes, let's go. So proceed to the front. Serenity Joseph, St. Vincent Girls High School. The anticipation. Serenity will speak on the topic 9 mornings. 9 mornings.
Protocol having already been established, good evening once again. My topic is 9 mornings. Last Christmas, my uncle wrote a song, 9 Mornings in Widiani, and it was performed by the people of my community, Leyu. 9 mornings is a very special part of our culture. It was created back in slavery days, and we are the only country that still do 9 mornings. I love 9 mornings, from the music to the activities that they have, to the games that are played, to the people that come up and show out to support 9 mornings. 9 mornings is absolutely wonderful. Trust and believe that Vincent 9 mornings is something you really cannot miss. People fly from overseas just for 9 mornings. Even in the cold times of their country, they leave their country to come to St. Vincent and the Grenadines to enjoy 9 mornings with us. 9 mornings is truly amazing. Won't you agree? I thank you.
Serenity spoke on 9 mornings, and she spoke for
1 minute, 6 seconds.
1 minute, 6 seconds. Right, we'll move it along. But We have to wait for the judges. All right, so you enjoying the competition thus far? Yeah, doesn't sounds like everyone is sleepy. No. Are you enjoying the competition thus far? Yes, we need to make sure that those who are listening and viewing can hear through the microphones the excitement that's building, because we still have Sophia, Joshua, Braxton, and Jaquan to come, and I'm sure they're going to pick some very interesting topics, and you're going to be amazed at how quickly they can think on their feet. Impromptu segment is always a test of how quickly you can think on your feet in a very short time. You only have 1 minute to prepare, so utilizing that 1 minute is very, very important. Okay, we're ready with the bag? Are we ready? No? Okay. So, as you continue to follow what we do here at Lions Club St. Vincent South, you can check out our Facebook page, facebook.com/Lions Club South. You can search it on Facebook, and you can follow all of what we do, our tree planting exercise each year, our health fairs. We have health fairs coming up as well, and all of the projects that we engage in, including our flagship, the public speaking competition tonight. So we're ready now. So let's see the topic. That's Sophia. So Sophia, come forward, please, and see what interesting topic Sophia is going to pick out of the bag. All right. Thank you, Sophia. Let's see. Sophia will speak on artificial intelligence, AI, artificial intelligence.
The protocol has already been established. Good night, everyone, once again. My topic is artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence, we also hear it as AI. It is the only online technology built into our phones. It is seen on Google, it is seen ChatGPT, OpenAI, SolveX, and even Solution X. Why do we use these artificial intelligence apps? Because when we have challenging homework to do, we turn to ChatGPT to go and put in those examples. Especially when a teacher sends you a CXC paper for those students, you just go and upload the file to get a quick answer. Nowadays, we just turn to AI. We just turn to artificial intelligence. We don't use our brains as much as we used to use back in those days. Older people would always say, all I do I use all the brain, all of this and all of that. Everything is online, online, online. We have an advantage of using things online, but we are just using it to be lazy. We're just using it there to be outside and don't want to sit down and be in your book like regular students. I am guilty of doing that. I go home sometimes and I have different things I have to do. I have to wash up dishes when I go home. I have to clean my shoes when I go home. I have so much things to do, and sometimes I'm just really lazy and I use ChatGPT. Okay, what is this? History assignment. Okay, when did slavery start? Let me use ChatGPT. Or we have a math assignment to do. You use SolveX. As I said, I'm guilty, so I know these apps. I thank you.
The confessions of a student in an AI-driven society. That's happening tonight. Now, Sophia spoke for
2 minutes.
2 minutes, just 2 minutes, 2 minutes flat. So we're in good timing once more with Sophia DeRiggs of the St. Joseph's Convent, Kingstown. Next, we'll have Joshua. So Joshua, don't come as yet. Prepare yourself, though, from the Mountain View Adventist Academy. And he'll be picking another of the interesting topics in the bag. And I see we have quite a number of topics still in that bag, so I'm sure that we'll get 3 more that will generate some further thought among our listeners, viewers, and those who are gathered in the hall tonight. But while we get ready for Joshua, just a reminder of the humanitarian service which the Lions Club offers and serves, and how we serve. The mission includes improving health and well-being, strengthening communities, supporting those in need, and encouraging peace. And we also provide community support through local projects, supporting global causes such as hunger relief, disaster relief, environmental conservation, and aid for the disabled. And right at this moment, our Lions and Leos in Jamaica are mobilizing to support what transpired there in the passage of Major Hurricane Melissa. So our thoughts and prayers are with them, and we will also be in contact with those of Lions Clubs of Jamaica to see how we can also play a part in that process. So we're ready for the next topic. Are we? Yes. Judges are ready? Okay, let's go. Okay. One more second. Well, that second just went. So I'll give 10 seconds, okay? It's a tough one, it seems. The judges are ensuring that they dot the I's and cross the T's. Right. So here we go into Joshua Samuel, Mountain View Adventist Academy, who will be selecting his topic at this time. Okay, Joshua, you can pick your topic from the bag. Okay, so let's see the excitement that Joshua has to deal with tonight. Fighting. Joshua will be talking about fighting.
Protocol has already been established. The topic I have chosen is fighting. In my speech, I'm going to define what fighting is, the advantages, disadvantages, and a personal story, and the conclusion. Fighting is a dangerous act of exerting physical strength with force to hurt or damage someone. Now, I personally won't start fights. So if someone comes to try and hit me, I didn't start it. So the advantages of fighting are, it helps you with self-defense. If you don't know how to fight, you'll just be taking blows upon blows upon blows, and that is very embarrassing. Now, there are disadvantages of fighting. The disadvantages are damaging people. That is a bad thing. And we don't want to be damaging others because that's not what the human body is made for. Now, I don't like fighting, but one time I fought really badly, and over money as that. And well, someone owed my brother some money, and me and my cousin fought about 14 boys for them, because my cousin is very ignorant. In conclusion, I don't think any of us should say we love to fight. Let's all be protective of ourselves and each other. I thank you.
And we're getting some serious confessions tonight. And I expect for the next two topics, it may just continue. So let's wait and see. But Joshua spoke for
1 minute, 49 seconds.
Right. So we are preparing now for the next competitor, which is number 5. Yes, we're already at number 5. See how quickly we're going through the impromptu segment. Braxton Lewis is who's coming up next. Braxton will come to you shortly from the North Union Secondary School. But just a bit more about the Lions Club and Lions Club International. You might hear the term MJF, and I'm sure you heard that when our president was introduced, Lion Michael John, MJF, and wonder what is this MJF about? Well, it's Melvin Jones Fellow. That's what it means, and that is named after the founder of Lions Club International, and the club was founded in 1917. I believe I shared that earlier as well. If you hear PMJF, because there are others who carry PMJF, it's Progressive Melvin Jones Fellow, so that we're clear on the abbreviations that you see at the end of the names, and you have a clear idea as to what they represent. So we're ready for Braxton now? Yes, so Braxton, you can come forward. Braxton? Braxton is in a whole different world. He's thinking about what that topic might be. So let's see. So let's see. Braxton will be speaking on the topic talent. Talent.
Protocol having already been established. Oh my God, he's so cool. Wow, what is that? It's my talent. I can sing very well. Ho, ho, ho. Talent comes in many forms. Many, many different forms. From singing, dancing, gymnastics, being really good at football, cricket, soccer, you know. However, I don't just want to speak on talent alone, but a little bit about hard work and how it can outgrow talent. Talent is something that we are born with. However, you may be egotistical. You may think, I have this talent and I'm so much better than him. But watch out. This person can outwork you, outgrow you, and become even better than you. You may become defeated. And that is a scary thing. All of us here have wonderful talents, and I'm certain of that. But you must always be careful not to let pride and ego get in your way. Ensure that you work hard to maintain your talent and stay on top. I thank you.
Braxton Lewis of the North Union Secondary School, and he spoke for
1 minute, 25 seconds.
So we are preparing for the final competitor, and as we get ready to wrap up this category, a reminder of how the bell works. Again, for the final competitor and for the sake of you, the audience, viewers, and listeners. The first bell, when the participant gets to the microphone. The second bell at the end of the first minute. That's assigned for you to make your notes about your topic. And the third bell will go at the end of the third minute. So you have 2 minutes to basically present your speech and 1 minute before to prepare, make your notes, etc. So as we prepare for the final competitor, Jaquan Edwards, who will now move forward and select his topic. Put your hands together for Jaquan. So let's see what interesting topic Jaquan is going to pull from the bag. And it has about another dozen or so topics in there, but we only need one. Jaquan will speak on the topic of photos. Photos.
With protocol having already been established, a pleasant good night once again. Photos. Click, chow, the finger clicking on that camera button or the button on the phone. Many persons like photos, but me personally, I hate them. They're just a waste of time. For me, I think it's unnecessary. But for some people, they enjoy it. For example, my guardian right over there holding the phone, she likes pictures. She likes taking pictures of me, even though she can clearly see I don't want to be in them. Even when I was younger, she would just come around and just point the phone in my face. Boy, smile. Even today, when I came up that step, she was like, you know what, go over there, let me take a picture of you. I stood there like, then she was like, boy, smile, so I did this. Coming back to photos. Photos can be a good thing, it can be a bad thing. People may like it, they may don't. But overall, it can be good, bad, or just in between. I thank you.
So Jaquan Edwards of the Thomas Saunders Secondary School spoke for
1 minute, 15 seconds.
1 minute, 15 seconds. All right. So what I'm going to do at this point as we prepare for the final portion of the proceedings tonight, and just to remind you that the auditors in the back, you're not able to see them, but they're working on finalizing the results as quickly as possible because I know that we're cutting it with time. It's almost 10:15. So we'll get the results to you very, very soon. But I'll ask all of the competitors to stand and just give your best round of applause, as loud as you can get. All right, you may have your seats. That was very good. Wish we had that all throughout the competition tonight. But it's good to see that everyone is awake and energized and ready for Are you ready for the results? Yes. Well, you have a bit more time to wait, so just hold on for a little bit longer. So at this time, I'd like to invite Lion Suzette May to bring us the vote of thanks. And while that happens, we'll have the auditors checking the final set of results, so that should give us a few time. But DJ, just in case we need you, just in case you can line up a track.
Good evening, everyone. It is truly an honor to stand here at the closing of this keenly contested public speaking competition to deliver the vote of thanks. On behalf of the President and members of the Lions Club St. Vincent South, I would like to express our heartfelt gratitude to everyone who made this event a success. Thank you to Reverend Janice Sawyer Delaney for invocating the Lord's blessing on this evening's proceedings. To the Governor General, Her Excellency Dame Susan Duggan, CG, MG, OBE, thank you for gracing us with your presence. Our President, Lion Michael John, MJF, for delivering the welcome remarks. Flow SVG, represented by Ms. Shelley Antoni, Finance Manager, for their invaluable contribution and continued sponsorship of our public speaking competition. Mrs. Marla Nanton James, Education Officer, Media and Communication Unit, for her remarks, and also the Ministry for their continued partnership with us in ensuring the necessary communications were delivered to the various schools. Lion Colville Harry for effortlessly chairing the proceedings. A special thank you to our judges, Mr. Utamu Rose, Mr. Jimmy Ford, Ms. Shawnell Hardaway, Ms. Shadisha George Mattis, and Dr. Risa Noel Barnett for taking time off from their busy schedules to adjudicate the competitors during the preliminaries and tonight's final. Our timekeeper, Lion Sharon Williams, for keeping track of the students' delivery time. To the principal and teachers, thank you for your guidance, support, and encouragement offered to the students. To the participants, you all did well and made your schools and families proud. You all have demonstrated courage and remarkable public speaking skills. Thank you to the Methodist Church for allowing us the use of this venue. DJ Kano for providing the song entertainment. To VC3, NBC Radio, Nice Radio, WeFM, and SVG TV for providing live coverage of the event. We thank you sincerely. Mrs. Margaret Leacock and her team for the beautiful decoration you see here tonight. Mrs. Dawn John for providing the refreshments. Thank you to my fellow Lions for your assistance in organizing this competition. Finally, thank you to the wonderful audience for coming out to support the students. I wish everyone a safe journey to their respective destinations. Thank you.
And thank you very much, Lion Suzette, for thanking everyone. And we hope that you will get home safely after we have finished, but we're not quite finished. Your Excellency, just bear with us a few more minutes, as I know you've been here from the very start, and we appreciate your presence here tonight, as with all of you who are gathered here at the Methodist Church Hall in Kingstown, those who've been viewing and listening from the very start, just after 7 p.m., we know that you are eagerly awaiting the results. And the judges have done their task, and they too are awaiting the audited results, and we'll find that out in just a few minutes. So as we do that, we'll ask DJ Kano to just give us a few minutes of entertainment as we prepare to do the results and present the prizes to our winners tonight.
Drop the window and feel the vibe. There's no other place I'd rather be. Me Vincent girl by my side. I tell them all the while, we don't have no gold nor oil, but we have wonderful people rich with beautiful smiles. From the hills to the mountains, high, high, high. Every man, every woman, every child. If you're proud to be Vincent, put your hands up high and let me hear you say, this island is mine. Jump and say, jump and say, jump and say. This island is mine. Jump and say, jump and say, jump and say. This island is mine. Jump and say, jump and say, jump and say. This island is mine. Wave and say, wave and say. Hey, Vincent me come from, and I will never sell out my heritage. So if you're looking for me, don't worry, you can find me up in the hills. I'm doing it the Vincy way. I wish every day was Vincy Day. So if you're proud of your country, put up on your hands and say, from the hills to the mountains, high, high, high. Every man, every woman, every child. If you're proud to be Vincy, put your hands up high and let me hear you say, this island is mine. Jump and say, jump and say, jump and say. This island is mine. Jump and say, jump and say, jump and say. This island is mine. Jump and say, jump and say, jump and say. This island is mine. Wave and say, wave and say. Whoa, yeah. Rap me. Skinny fabulous. Oh. This island is mine.
Start to wave, wave it, start to whine, start to jump, Vincy mash 'em in non-stop. Start to wave it, start to whine, start to jump, Vincy mash 'em in non-stop. No sweeter place like Vincy on earth. St. Vincent, my homeland of my birth. Vincentians of every creed and race, displaying itself for carnival day.
I have the results, but you'll have to wait another 2 minutes at least. Okay. So at this point, I'd invite one of the judges to share a few thoughts on tonight's competition. Just about a minute. We'll time you as well. So start the clock. We give you 1 minute.
Good evening, everyone. Oh, it's been a while since I stood at this podium, but it feels familiar. Let me start by saying congratulations to the Lions Club, St. Vincent South, on yet another excellent hosting of the public speaking competition. I believe it's one of the most anticipated events on the school calendar, so job well done, kudos to you guys. Hope to see it going for many more years. I'm lost for words for these 6 students here. This was a very, very impressive showing. Give the students a round of applause. And I am quite pleased that me and my fellow judges don't have the additional task of adjudication or, auditing, because that would have been a task in that back room for us. So I am excited to see who the winner was, but I am truly telling you as a judge, any one of these students could have won tonight. I also want to point out that public speaking is something that a lot of people find daunting. So for these students to be able to prepare, come here, give this swell of an account of themselves, it's absolutely amazing. Kudos to the teachers, the parents, everybody that supported them. And once again, Lions Club, Flow, everybody that makes this event possible. Keep it going. I'll be here to support it. Thank you.
And that was Mr. Utamu Rose, winner of the 2011 Lions Club St. Vincent South public speaking competition. And he spoke for 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Now it's results time. Are you ready? Well, that's not a real question. So, we're going to start by category. We had 3 categories tonight. We had the student-prepared topic, the main topic, of course, and the impromptu. So as I call your name, you'll go forward, and Lion Sumona, who's standing right in front of where the trophies are, will present you with your trophy. And of course, that will be presented by the representative of Flow. So those first categories will be presented by the representative of Flow, Miss Shelley and Tony. So let's go, without further delay. In the impromptu category, the winner is Braxton Lewis of the North Union Secondary School. Smile for the camera, Braxton. And from all appearances, he will have a lot to smile about tonight. Student prepared speech, the next category. Braxton Lewis, North Union Secondary School. Are you ready for the next one? The main topic, the big event of the night, the one that took 10 minutes to present maximum. Main topic, Braxton Lewis. Somebody needs to offer him some transport to take all of that home. And we're not finished as yet. We're not finished yet. Are you ready for the overall placements? Yes? We begin with 3rd place. Isaiah Tony, St. Vincent Grammar School, 389.5 points. Second place, just give me about 1 minute to do second place. Okay, just joking. Joshua Samuel of the Mountain View Adventist Academy with 397.5 points. And these prizes are being presented by the president of the Lions Club St. Vincent South. And they're also receiving some phones from our sponsor, Flow. So all competitors will receive phones, but of course the first prize winner will receive something a bit higher in terms of the specs than the others. The young ones know what I'm talking about. I can do a bit more than the others. So we'll await. All right, are we ready for that? Okay, so you'll come for the phones after when you collect your trophies for participation. Great. So are you ready? With 407.5 points. From the North Union Secondary School, Braxton Lewis. I did tell you that Braxton needs some special arrangements for transportation tonight. I'm not sure the transport that brought him can take all of this, because one of the prizes that he will take back to his school is quite heavy, and you'll see that in a while. All right, so we asked Her Excellency the Governor General to present the challenge trophy. So don't go too far, Braxton, don't go too far. And this challenge trophy will be at the school, the winning school, the North Union Secondary School, until next year's competition. So Braxton will be entrusted with this Lion Michael de Freitas Challenge Trophy as something that he can be very proud of, and not just him, but teachers, students, and the entire North Union Secondary School population. Put your hands together once more. And we, at this time, allow Her Excellency to depart. And we're greatly grateful, Your Excellency, for staying with us tonight throughout the competition. Thank you. So participants, a round of applause, please. So now we are going to reward all of the participants because you came through several levels of competition to get here. Tonight is the grand final, and we have to recognize that you are indeed outstanding and winners in your own right. And some very excellent presentations tonight. So, without further delay, we ask them to come back in the order in which they appeared to receive their participation trophy and their gift from Flo. And yes, so those will be the tokens you'll receive as being finalists. All right, so your prize from Flo would also be included in this distribution, and the representative from Flo will assist our president in distributing these gifts. So I ask Isaiah Tony to come forward and collect his token, a phone, and that's a Samsung A06. Compliments Flo, our sponsor. We're really grateful to Flo's contribution here. Serenity Joseph of the St. Vincent Girls High School. Serenity will receive her trophy of participation and her Samsung A06 mobile phone. Some photos at the moment. Sophia De Riggs of the St. Joseph's Convent, Kingstown. Sophia will also receive a Samsung A06. Joshua Samuel, Mountain View Adventist Academy. Also a Samsung A06, so we prepare for that next presentation. Joshua Samuel from the Mountain View Adventist Academy. In order of appearance, Braxton Lewis, North Union Secondary School, our winner, our champion for tonight. Well, he got his, yes, I was told that he got his already, so he had the whole package, so he now needs some transportation to take that home. Jaquan Edwards, we'll ask you to come forward now. Braxton will receive an A26 Samsung device. And Jaquan will receive an A06. Compliments flow. Okay, so we're asking for the purpose of the visuals and the photographers that the president and the winner, along with the Lion Michael de Freitas trophy, they just position center front so that we can get a shot for television and for the photographer. So Braxton, if you can come forward. I know it's quite heavy, but I'm sure our Lion president will assist you in lifting it. And just to hold it for a moment so that we can get visual for the television audience and for the photographers. Of course, we'll have opportunities to take other photos once we wrap up in a minute or so from now. So as we prepare to do so, we would want to say thanks again, as much as we had a vote of thanks to our audience and our team from VC3 Television, who spearheaded the live feed for all of the platforms taking it tonight. NBC Radio, WeFM, Nice Radio, that's on the radio end, VC3 Television, SVG Television, and across social media pages, including that of the Lions Club. So all that is left for me to do, as you take your photos when we wrap up here, you feel free to take as many photos as you wish. And I hope the competitor who mentioned about photos being a problem doesn't mind having a few photos taken, because we may need to take some photos of him. Have a safe journey home, and thank you very much for coming here tonight. Our listeners, viewers, thank you very much for listening and viewing. Good night.